And once again, we are back for the Boys in the Bay Apple podcast, our usual Monday show. We hope everybody's doing well. We hope everybody had a good and joyful Thanksgiving weekend. As Luca has ceased to exist. Oh, no, he's back. So
that is not
it's not
true.
like last Monday where he banged the table and decided to, his
he threw a right-handed cross to his camera, and the camera hit him back.
And decided to decided to have payback. But what's up, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well once again. Well, we're going to talk some football tonight. Definitely some New York Jets. I'm just kidding. These two don't want to even hear the name Jets.
No,
it's not. It's seriously not.
You know what? Let's and here's the I think we can all agree this should be the only analysis of the Jets. We suck.
Those two words exactly. We suck.
Okay.
And we're an absolute embarrassment.
But also as well, though, if you have any questions about the Jets, folks, feel free to ask. But anyway,
no, we're not. No, we're saying you can ask questions. We're just not going to analyze shit from the game because there's nothing to analyze. You
mean you don't want to analyze the Hail Mary?
No.
The perpetual incompetence of the New York Jets? No.
The perpetual incompetence. Okay. What's up to Jacob, Danielberry Sports, and Jets Mess in the building? Appreciate y'all coming in. Also share this out. Do all the good stuff. We'll have a Patriots recap out tomorrow. We'll have a live stream. What looks to be on Saturday with Mr. Ron Effect. So that's gonna be recapping the Giants' first half of the season. We'll be talking about the Giants on here as well. Obviously Luca watched the game. John, maybe I don't know how much he caught of it.
I watched the game.
Okay, so we'll be able to dig into it. What is up to Armand in the chat?
I just still want to say, as we're talking Giants, rest in peace to our buddy who passed away. Obviously, heard the news yesterday, but he was a good man. I sent out a tweet for myself. I said, "Good man." I met him twice. Always had some sort of character. Good. I didn't really watch his content, but I just knew him. Meeting him twice, but it's sad. Hashtag fuck cancer, and it shows how sudden life can be. So enjoy every moment you have on this earth.
Right. Imagine if the Jets get the higher pick. Me and Luke have been arguing about that a little bit, but
let us get the higher pick.
No. You guys are not taking the QB, so it doesn't make any sense for you to get the higher pick.
I think we should.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have that discussion in a later day.
That's an off-season discussion, but I'm just saying right now I would not mind it. But that's off-season.
John, your first thoughts?
I'm here to not talk about the Jets and anything else.
Oh.
that's all I really want. But no, seriously, guys, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And shout out to our wonderful chat. We got Armin, Jacob, and Daniel, and Armin. What? You got to go fight at work today? Oh my god!
I need to hear this.
Yeah, we got to hear the story, man.
You can't just advertise something like that, and
you gotta tell us the details.
Can't leave us on a cliffhanger there, Armin.
Yeah, it's like.
Armin, was it over Jim Harbaugh?
Maybe it was like steaming from last night. What's that?
We can't see it. Hold up.
Yeah.
It's going to come.
No Jets allowed.
There we go. That's better.
You could draft Daniels and sit him. John, how's your relationship with Sal Licata?
I don't have one because I hate him.
So it was steaming from last night. Armin, just accept it. The Jets fan base, it's a bad ultimatum for Armin before I get to Lucas' thoughts. It's either Jets fans want Harbaugh or Jets fans want to keep Robert Saleh. There's no or in that situation, Armin, so you're pretty much fucked either way.
I go with the first option.
Keep Robert Saleh?
Dumbass, you said that's the second option.
I was trying to trick you. But your first thoughts, Luca.
First thoughts, I will post this again. This is for talking points. You guys can ask all the questions you want. I'm sorry for the bright green color. No Jets allowed. We're not going to be talking Jets unless you guys bring up a question, which feel free to do. But, we'll talk some Knicks tonight. I know we didn't do that a ton last week. I know John was a little bit belly sick. But we'll dive into Knicks a little bit. We'll actually talk about Joel Embiid a little bit. I didn't do an NBA profile this week. I'm hoping to actually do one next week. Maybe I'll bring a Sixers guy on. We'll talk about the Sixers a little bit because they've been impressive. They're one of the best offenses in the NBA, and their offensive landscape and philosophy has changed under Nick Nurse, which I'm very impressed with, leading to more efficient play from their guys. And obviously that's what helped Tyrese Maxey with his growth. We'll talk some MLB offseason as well. Yamamoto sweepstakes. I know the new pitcher from Japan. I don't remember his name. He's the southpaw. He got posted recently. Cardinals signed Sonny Gray. Kanta Maeda to the Tigers. I mean, that's such a Tigers move, but still, we'll be here to analyze all of it. We also got the Frank Reich firing to cover from an NFL standpoint.
First, we do have an immaculate grid.
Okay.
Can we do two?
Nobody mess it up.
Right. All right. So here we are.
Can we do 2 tonight?
Well, we could do 2 or maybe even 3.
We can do 3. Ooh.
Anyway, here we are. So only one team. That's interesting. Okay.
All right.
Only one team.
Okay, I got one guy. I don't know how obviously be, but Browns, Chargers, Travis Benjamin. That's the first guy.
It's a good one.
Yes.
I
think I got one for the Broncos.
Trying to think of Browns, Chargers. I got another one for the Browns, Chargers, and me and Luca do not like this player for his tenure with the Jets. Pierre Desir.
Ugh.
I like that. I like that guess. I like that.
That's actually a better
I
one.
always seem to remember where the former Jets come from.
I have Chad Kelly for Broncos, only one team.
That's a good one.
Should I mark it down?
Yes.
Okay. Chad Kelly. 0.6%.
0.06.
Okay. Thank you for giving me more credit. I think I might have one.
Don't inflate his ego, everybody.
Here we go. We go with the clownery. Okay, so I think I have one for the Steelers. And that is, now I don't know how obvious you guys think it would be. Roosevelt Nix.
Okay, that's a good one.
Roosevelt Nix is one. I'm trying to think. Jordan Berry might be a little bit more obvious.
Did Eli Rogers play for the Chargers?
You always take a look at the film.
Eli Rogers actually only played with one team. That was the Steelers, I think.
Okay, let me look. Eli Rogers.
All right. If you
Eli
don't
Rogers could do Steelers, so
I'm thinking, okay, hold up. I got another one for the Browns, Chargers. I don't know why I just thought of them, but Charlie Whitehurst, quarterback.
Browns, Chargers, Charlie Whitehurst. 4%. He looks like a hippie.
He is. He's like one of those Duck Dynasty players.
Shoto Ayamanga.
Yeah, that's the lefty from Japan.
It's going well, Daniel. It's going well. All right. So Browns only one team. There's probably a load of these considering the busts. So let me think.
Johnny Manziel. Well, that's an obvious.
That would get 100%. I didn't even know Josh Cribbs was a Jet.
Yes, he was.
He was.
2013.
Yeah.
When we had the washed up guys.
All right. Steelers, Chiefs. We got obviously Juju. That's the first guy. Le'Veon Bell. There's another one. Le'Veon Bell.
Did Artie Burns play for the Chiefs? I don't think he did, but I just
no.
Trying to think.
No. I'm gonna think of Browns in one team. Or
how about Kendrell Bell, former Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, he would work.
Kendrell Bell, Steelers, Chiefs. That's
Chiefs, Steelers, Kendrell Bell. 0.9%.
Really? Only 0.9? Damn.
Okay. For me, I'm trying to think of I might have a guess, but it's probably not going to work. No, it's not going to work. Okay. My first guess was Cody Kessler, but he played with Jacksonville, so that wouldn't have worked. Trying to think as well. Tinking. This guy probably will not work either. Nope. He does not work. Let's see. See if this guy works. Nope, he doesn't work either. Christ.
What about Chris Harris Jr., Chargers Broncos?
He could work, maybe.
That could work. Trying to think. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not gonna work.
Was the Virgil Green ever a Charger?
Yes, he was.
Green was a
So
Charger.
then that could be a Chargers Broncos.
Chargers.
What an obscure tight end.
1%.
What was he?
1%.
One? Okay. Virgil Green. What a beast.
Okay, Virgil Green. So I'm trying to think. Top weapons were just top idiots for. Let's see.
Why do they have to be idiots?
Yeah, why are you demeaning these football players, Alex?
All right, I got one for the Browns. Spencer Drango.
Okay. That
He used to be
0.003%.
He used to be on my Madden mobile team.
beast.
Tyler Van Dyke is entering the transfer portal
Okay.
for Miami.
Brown.
Steelers. Derek Watts, obvious.
What did Darius Edward Bay ever play for the Chargers? I don't think so.
How about we got Dwayne Bowe for Browns Chiefs?
It's a good one.
That could work.
What did you say? Browns Chiefs, Dwayne Bowe?
Yeah. Trying to think who else would be a
Chiefs Broncos. I mean, Frank Clark is obvious.
We could also go with the an old school quarterback, Len Dawson. He played on the Browns and Chiefs.
True. Okay, we got 3 more guesses.
Trying to think who else. Who else can I think of?
Did Leftwich play for any of those teams? Byron Leftwich, because he was obviously a Steelers quarterback. It's also, I'm going to try to think of Steelers backup quarterbacks: Bruce Gradkowski, Charlie Batch, Michael Vick. Damn.
All right. This is tough. I'm trying to think. Chargers, Steelers.
Did Emmanuel Ogba ever play on the Chiefs?
I don't think so. I'll double check
No?
for you.
Okay.
He did.
He was drafted by the Browns, so that's another one.
Do you want to mark that one down or the other one?
We can do Emmanuel Ogba.
0.4%.
Of course.
Broncos, Chiefs.
The fuck was that?
Let's try to clear my throat.
It was like a horse.
It's up to Vinny in the chat. Our call-in show was last night, Vinny. But we're probably going to do one earlier in December, considering that we usually take a very extensive break. So
a hiatus.
We'll have the details on that, but it's not going to be the end of the month in December. It's going to be much earlier. Okay.
Steelers, Chargers. We got who played
again? Derek Watt would be obvious.
Melvin Ingram's an option.
Melvin Ingram is also an option. Yes.
Trying to think who else. I
don't think
Trey Turner, not the baseball one.
No, I know. That's actually a good guess.
Good one. I'm pretty sure he was a former Pro Bowler too.
Yep. I would go Trey Turner, honestly.
I'm trying to think of anyone else. Want to go Trey Turner?
Yep.
Yeah.
3%.
Okay. What else we got? Broncos, Chiefs?
Yep.
This is so hard for some reason.
Broncos, Chiefs players.
I'm thinking like special teamers or something.
Denver Broncos players. Let's see.
This was tough. And chat, feel free to help us out if you would like.
I'm trying to think of backup quarterbacks because that's like a decent one to do. Osweiler obviously never played for the Chiefs.
Oh, I got one. Jamal
Okay.
Charles did.
Should we go him?
I don't know how obviously be the Bronco, but I know Chiefs fans know him well.
Okay, that's an option. Did Damian Williams ever play with the Broncos?
I don't.
I think so.
You know who could have been an option, but he was on their practice squad, not the active roster?
Oh.
I'm going to throw a name towards you. Kevin Hogan.
Kevin Hogan.
It's up to Brad in the chat.
Man.
Hell.
Damn. I'm trying to think.
There's got to be somebody obvious we're missing.
Wait. I know he was a Bronco. I don't know if he was a Chief.
Who?
Throw it.
Let's see if I'm on fire tonight with my memory. Kyle Orton.
I think he was a Chief.
Ooh, we might have the answer because Kyle Orton was.
Yep.
Yes, 2011. 2011.
Ooh, Kyle Orton. I think that's got to
Didn't
be
he beat the piss out of the Jets?
In 2014 with the Bills, he did.
That's one of our better grids yet.
Yep. Orton was 7% and Charlie Whitehurst was 4%. So, but well, should we talk about the Giants game first, or should we talk about the Frank Reich firing first?
If you want, you can go to recent news with the Frank Reich firing.
It's up to you.
So, yeah, might as well. So, obviously, we got the news today that Frank, and there was talk like all week about Frank Reich possibly being fired and possibly being him, one and done and all this sort of stuff. And they finally came out today and they said that Frank Reich was fired. And the Panthers players didn't find out via their team. They found out via social media, which is unfortunately like the most common trend all of a sudden, especially like with players getting traded. Harrison Bader found out in the cafeteria.
That's just poor communication, but that's David Tepper at his finest. How much is he paying for head coaches now? He's paying for Matt Rule, and he's not now paying for Frank Reich.
Right. And it's just like, so you have that, and then they fired Josh McCown. They fired Deuce Staley, who probably could have been the interim coach, and they've promoted Chris Tabor as the interim coach. Now, I'll go around.
I wonder why they didn't I wonder why they didn't promote somebody like an Ejiro Avero.
Ejiro Avero last year didn't want to take the interim job because he wanted to keep calling the defense. So that it's possible that he should be considered though for head coaching opportunity.
I also think they should get someone outside the organization.
Yes,
just because that organization is terrible. But guys, this is if I want to give my first thoughts on this, do you know that I got to say, I know our owner's bad, but their owner has been awful.
He's meddlesome.
He is awful since he's taken over David Tepper, because now he's paying not only Frank Reich, but he's paying Matt Rule to not coach for his football team. So he's gotten through two coaches already, okay? And you got to think like the GM might be next. This shouldn't be just a coach thing, because this is already the second coach to go. Like the GM is probably next. This team is in shambles with their on the field play. Bryce Young is, I know he doesn't have the best around him, but he hasn't looked good as a first overall pick this year. He's had a few moments of, okay here and there, but he just, it's a lot of inconsistencies there. And
I also don't think they have enough talent either.
They don't have a lot of talent on the roster.
They don't have a first or second round pick next year,
which is not good, which is also kind of why
who are you trading, like realistically? You could have traded Brian Burns for maybe a first or something at the
They
deadline.
could have gotten 2 first-round picks for him last year. There was multiple reports saying that. So
and they didn't. Wait, are you talking about during the rule era or this past deadline?
the year before that.
Oh, so it's still the rule era. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Brian. What was I going to say?
Brian.
Luca? No. I was like throwing a shot at him because remember, I said that rule wouldn't work out, and
remember he was a Matt Rule guy.
That's right. Bad take, Brian. Yeah, he sucked at Nebraska.
All right, guys, I got the official numbers. I looked them up. How much? I'll give you guys. I'll do a maximum of 3 guesses for y'all.
Okay.
How much combined do you think David Tepper has to pay for both Matt Rule and Frank Reich? This is not annual. This is not. No, it's combined. It's not AAV. It's combined.
$87 million.
How much? Did you
Okay,
say?
John. Alex said $87 million. 3 guesses.
I'll say $65 million.
All right, keep guessing.
$110 million.
No.
$75 million.
John?
Can't imagine being over $100 million.
No.
$75 million.
No.
I feel like this is much
Alex,
more. So
yes.
let's see. I'm trying to think. Rule was fired mid 22. I think it was a 5-year contract that they gave him.
Maybe it was
Let me say $65 million.
You know what? I'll go crazy. $130 million.
Well, Alex was close with one of his guesses. Then he jumped far off. Then you jumped far off, John. The answer is $96 million. Frank Reich's contract was about $36 million. Matt Rule's contract was about $60 million in the years. Because I think
how is Matt Rule's contract worth more than Frank Reich?
Because they signed him to a big long extension. Remember, it was like they signed him for a big long, not an extension, an agreement. It was like 7 years.
And that's why
meddlesome
owners. It's just, and also is this.
Yes.
But no, this. But anyway, like there was all these rumors coming out of that he want, and I saw tweets even in March, and there was tweets like that I've bookmarked from March, that he wanted CJ Stroud, and that Mr. Tepper was very, very keen on Mr. Bryce Young. And who do you think won that power struggle?
Tepper is the owner.
So now they were stuck with Bryce Young, who's one of the worst quarterbacks to come out of this club. And I'm saying as a rookie, like 1 in 10, that's not good. Like, let's not act like it is good. Stroud is obviously doing things. The way they positioned the team was just odd because they got him very aged weapons. DJ Chark, Adam Thielen. Yeah. The offensive line hasn't been great.
They drafted Jonathan Quick. They still have Terrace Marshall for some reason. Like, he's been an outlier.
Did you just say they drafted Jonathan Quick?
You meant
Jonathan Mingo, excuse me.
They drafted a New York Rangers player. Okay.
They drafted the backup goalie for the New York Rangers.
Good job, I'm glad he's got hockey in his mind.
Jonathan Mingo, not Jonathan Quick. So, Alex, if you want to hit that button where I get the X.
Oh yeah. Let's not ignore it.
Jonathan Mingo, not Jonathan Quick. And who was his lead tight end? It was
right now there's Hayden Hurst, Tommy Tremble, and somebody else.
I mean, talk about putting weapons around your young quarterback. There's not many there's no elite weapon. There's number one guy. It's just a bunch of guys. And talk about Ika Makwanu. He's been terrible this season.
So Scott Fitter has been there since 21. So my guess is So I will also say this. I had this bookmark from earlier today. Will Brinson, right? The coaches before David Tepper, which was 95 to 2017. You had Dom Capers, who was a former defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. You had George Seifert, John Fox, who I'm pretty sure he won a Super Bowl, but not with the Panthers.
He never actually won a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl with the Panthers, and they lost to the Patriots on a Vinatieri field goal. And he also got his ass whooped by Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl back in 2013, Super Bowl 48.
Oh wait, is that the same one where Adam Gase was there?
Yeah, Gase was the offensive coordinator under John Fox.
But also they had Ron Rivera, and now Ron Rivera comes in with Tepper. 2018, they've had 6 coaches, 3 interns since then. Ron Rivera, Perry Fewell, Matt Rule, Steve Wilkes, who they didn't fire him, but they
Didn't
let
allow
him
him
go.
to continue.
No, he went to Arizona for the coaching job,
Mhm.
got fired, went around different leagues, then came back and then was promoted. And then didn't they start to pick up like a little bit of a hot streak towards the end of the season?
The
Yeah.
Panthers, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Then after that, it was let's see, it was Rule, Wilkes, Frank Reich, and now Chris Tabor.
Uh-huh.
So that's that. Now here's the other. Now, Luca, did you give your first thoughts at all, or anything you're missing?
No, I get like regarding the Reich stuff. I think I'll tell you this: if you didn't see the 4th and 6 call, who they played? The Titans, right? They were down by a possession.
Mhm.
If you watch that 4th and 6 call, I was like, what the fuck are you throwing the ball behind the lines for? I'm sure Reich has a hand in why Bryce Young hasn't done so well. I don't know. I'd have to ask a Panthers fan and have to interview him and talk to them and all that because I haven't watched a ton of Panthers football. But I don't think it's that possible for Bryce Young to be this bad. My personal opinion. But I also think he's a scapegoat because his offense is mid in terms of personnel. The offensive line makeup right now is Ika Makwanu, he struggled. I don't know who Motan is doing. Cade May's right guard. Bradley Bozeman, who's been average center, and Chandler Zavala, who's a rookie and should be really starting. Let me look up the PFF where I'm looking up the offensive line rankings.
I will bet you that they are like average to below average.
Okay, ahead of Week 12 PFF. This is the Panthers are ranked at. Of course, you got to subscribe, which is not a surprise because PFF is money. PFF should go to jail for money laundering.
We get a lawsuit. I'm not.
Luca soon. I'll be his lawyer.
Anyway, the Panthers trade DJ Moore.
Pro Football Network, right? Carolina Panthers. Where do you think they're ranked? I'll give you one guess each.
28th.
Alex?
30th?
24th.
Okay. So that's not good. I think he meant offensive line ranking.
Yeah, offensive line.
Yeah. No, that's why. Of course.
Oh, you had a stunned face. You had a stunned face.
I mean, when you only have one win, who the hell's going to be below you?
No, of course, I understand.
Panthers trade DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, which was a 2023 first, a 2023 second, 2024 first, and 2025 second. And what sucks also as well is the Bears haven't turned that into anything, but they do have a 2024 first. That's the first overall pick, folks.
Yeah.
So if they're not confident in Justin Fields, they're going to go get Caleb Williams.
From 4for4.com, they actually ranked the Panthers at 28th among offensive lines. So John was kind of correct, but just not at Pro Football Network.
PFF wrong.
Also, just way off topic here, John Heyman, quote unquote, says that he thinks the Yankees would get 2 of Soto, Yamamoto, and Bellinger. But that's
why do I have a feeling neither of you believe that?
Your feeling is correct.
I see your face.
Believing that.
Okay.
He was known as a QB whisperer. I know Luca actually wanted him.
I did. I did want Frank Reich as offensive coordinator. And I'm not going to lie to you, besides that 4th and 6 call, I want him now. I'd take him over Hackett.
Cat. Anyway. Brad. Scott, what's up? I didn't like the fact that they let Frank Reich go. You need to give a coach at least 2 years. That's just my opinion, guys. Well, he's the first coach in NFL history to be fired midseason 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's.
You know who also should be on that list?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
Well, technically he's not. Well, we don't know if he's the coach, but we're not discussing that.
We'll go back to whatever week and whatever, but.
So, here's the thing, too. It's going to be interesting because, yeah, it is Cat. Which coaches, and I know this conversation could be sold at the, we could reopen this conversation whenever, but I still want to start on it.
Mhm.
What in the world makes that job attractive?
That might be the least attractive job possible job.
Now, I'm going to look up the cap space next year.
Because you think about it. Think about the possible job openings that will be here next year. The Raiders, the Panthers, the Bears,
Patriots.
I'm sure Eberflus is going to end up getting fired, and him and Ryan Poles, because, well, maybe not Poles, but I think they obviously might have a ton of money next year, and they also have the first overall pick, and they have an additional first round pick as well. So they have the assets to go out and get Caleb Williams if they wanted to, and maybe an offensive lineman or a receiver or whoever. You have the Panthers, the Bears, I just mentioned the other team, and I just lost my train of thought. Panthers, Bears, Raiders.
You think the Bills fire McDermott?
That's an if.
That's ifs and buts. That's like a 50-50.
I could see him going to Carolina.
I mean, he did. He was there under Ron Rivera, so it's probable. But again, he would have to bring an offensive staff with him. That's obviously do the Panthers really want to hire a defensive guy again?
No.
I mean, they've tried it with two offensive guys like Reich and Matt Rule, but it obviously hasn't worked out. But obviously, Panthers, Bears, Raiders. Obviously, you mentioned Bills' possibility. Let me think of any other possibilities. I think Stefanski will stay. Zach Taylor will stay. Nobody in the North. The South for the AFC. I don't think they're going to maybe they fire Vrabel. I don't think so. I think he's a better coach than the record says. Jacksonville will stay. Indianapolis will stay because Sykin's obviously new. Texans are fine. To the West, I already said the Raiders. Broncos are having a turnaround.
Chargers.
Brendan Staley too. Brendan Staley, don't forget him and the Chargers. If all
right, while we were watching, after the Knicks game, I turned on that Sunday Night Football game because I had fantasy implications. Well, he is such an awful play caller. I mean, I feel so bad for Justin Herbert. I have never seen a quarterback get so hampered. Like he's truly amazing, but my God, is Brandon Staley a fucking moron, man? Like he's awful. He's awful.
You're talking about his defensive plays, right? Because
I'm talking about offense and what you want to talk about Kellen Moore too, fine, but like
Kellen Moore's I'm like when we talk about nothing,
awful, man.
No,
Just
they are. They
awful.
are. They have a shit ton of talent, but they don't know how to use it. They don't. And defensively, last week he was questioned by a reporter saying,
"Yeah, I saw that."
And then Brandon Staley's like, "You could stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling defensive plays." Like he got so triggered, but yet your defense is last in the league, buddy. You're not doing anything to help it. And Kellen Moore is very mid, in my opinion, in terms of offensive mind. Now, Ron Rivera is also going to get fired. Like I know I'm going to write this down. We're going to write this down.
While you write that down, I'll go over Scott's comment. He says they were saying today on NFL radio that there could be at least 12 coaches fired after the season. The Chargers are the best losers in the NFL. The Panthers are always on the list.
I was reading a stat. I think it said that since Herbert came in the league, they have won and lost the exact amount of games. I don't remember the number, but that is the definition of mediocre. Now, that might have been before yesterday's game, so
his quarterback record is 29-31.
Okay, so maybe that was 2 weeks ago that I read it, but legit, that's sad.
I don't think he would betray the Lions. That's just me. I don't think he would betray the Lions and say, "Nah, I want to go to." So there are some candidates that probably would be open for this job, and I know this is premature, but who cares?
How about this? Do you think Dennis Allen gets fired? Because he's under some heat too. I was looking at Twitter. They're like #fired Dennis Allen, and they lost to the Falcons yesterday. Like a very Falcons team. Like whoever, I'll tell you this right now. Whoever it's going to come down to. I think either one of those teams. Maybe the Bucs too. Maybe Todd Bowles gets fired.
Bob Bowles. Bob.
I said that
what Bob Bowles looks like.
I thought he was about to say Bob Barker.
This is what Bob Bowles looks like.
It is Bob Bowles. Forget Robert Saleh. It's Bob Bowles. But I'll write down Tampa Bay as a maybe.
All right, Luke is keeping the list.
All right, Falcons maybe. New Orleans.
Falcons they're not firing Smith.
What? You don't think they're going to fire Arthur Smith? He's a mediocre clown.
Right, but coaches like mediocre clowns. I should say owners.
What I was about to say, Alex, is whoever's not winning that division between the Saints, the Falcons, or the Bucks is going to get fired. If Dennis Allen doesn't win the division,
is not going to get fired.
If Dennis Allen does not win the division, he will get fired. In my opinion, Arthur Smith should. In my opinion, Arthur Smith, if he doesn't win the division, he should be fired because it's a wide open division.
He should be. It doesn't mean he's going to be. They already said that Arthur Blank's pretty confident in him as a coach.
Let me think. Think.
It's Evan in the chat.
Not getting fired.
I could actually see this. That's the scary part.
You think I don't think Jonathan Gannon's a one and done.
No. They already have to pay boy genius Cliff Kingsbury.
He should be somebody. He could be. Maybe he's a hot candidate for offensive coordinator for somebody next year.
Could be.
I talked about that, and I said, you know what? They should have hired Reich over. But Reich went for a head coaching job, which you can't blame him.
Honestly, here's a toss. Ready? Listen to this. Say the Bears get Caleb Williams.
Okay.
You know who could probably? What's his face? Kingsbury could be their offensive coordinator. They're both USC guys.
I thought you were going to say Lincoln Riley, but
I thought he was too. But the teams I've listed down for possible firings: Carolina, obviously their job is open now. The Chargers, the Bears, the Raiders with an interim. Tennessee, maybe. I put the maybe on them. New England, maybe. Tampa Bay, maybe. Depends how long they last with the Bob Bowles. I said that on purpose, by the way. Atlanta, maybe, and also New Orleans, maybe. Again, it depends on who wins the division because that's a crap show.
So let's put this into perspective. Is it going to be a position where Tepper wants a guy who's GM and head coach, or he wants just somebody who's a GM? They bring in a coach of whoever. Because I don't think he would want to pay Harbaugh.
No,
he already paying two clowns to not coach his team.
$96 million on the investment.
Hey, listen, if I could be a head coach in this league and get fired after 5 games for a 5-year contract, I'll do it.
Oh yeah, sign me up. I'm sure Matt Rule is living it in college. I mean, I know he sucked with Nebraska this year, but
yeah,
he's still making a shitload of money.
But I mean, so which would open the list to this? Ben Johnson,
okay,
Ejiro Evero. Someone wants to write these down or whatever.
Okay, I'll write these down.
Luke is right.
You're obviously going to get Chris Tabor an interview. I'm trying to think as well. No Harbaugh.
You think maybe Ulbrich gets an interview elsewhere?
He should get interviews, I will say. This is one thing I'll compliment the Jets about. Ulbrich should get interviews.
I'll put down Ulbrich. Maybe Aaron Glenn?
I've heard that one, yes. What's up to Classy Nasty? Scott says they will fire Rivera. Yeah. I don't think Wink. I think Wink is way. He might get the Raiders job, but other than that,
good shout, Armand. Bieniemy.
That could be one. There was a list. Hold on.
I have Johnson, Ejiro Evero, Chris Tabor, Jeff Ulbrich, Aaron Glenn, and Eric Bieniemy. I'm thinking about any other offensive names I should know about.
Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, okay. Singer of AC/DC.
Brian Flores.
Flores, probably.
People are talking about Frank Smith,
who the hell is that?
the offensive coordinator of the Miami Hurricanes.
People are also talking about that offensive coordinator from Clemson. I don't remember what his name was. I think his name was Garrett Riley. Also,
and then people are talking about Nick Saban. Like RG3 was talking about Nick Saban. Like, when the fuck? What world? In what universe is Nick?
Yeah,
Saban
that's not happening. I know he's not the same coach as he once was, but
this is a good one. I mean, I don't think he'll get jobs this year just because of the way the unit played. Anarumo, Nagy, nah. I don't think
I put down Nagy just in case.
One more.
Do they take a chance on Bobby Slowick? But no, unless they want another year of good success, maybe not.
I would say I would put down Slowick. I feel like they're going to range to be. They could either hit very good or hit mid with their hiring.
Okay, Bobby.
I feel like they could rock star Ben Johnson, or they could go with a Kellen Moore.
That's a good one. I didn't even list Kellen Moore.
Like that, like I don't know, like what would be a horrific hire. Like Matt Nagy would be a horrific hire.
Yeah, that's unless he somehow got better. But Chiefs fans even take issue with his play calling.
Trying to think who else. Ulbrich is a potential one. He's gonna get he should get a job somewhere though.
Yeah, I think he's a good leader.
Let's see. I mean,
after about all the other teams, imagine Bill O'Brien.
Someone, I don't know who said it, but someone said that he should be the next Jets head coach.
Don't say that, please.
No, my God, no.
Scott Young says Kafka. I would disagree.
I don't think Kafka's going to get interviews.
No.
Hold on.
He has a better chance of losing his job than actually getting interviews. My personal opinion.
Jacob said Davis Webb.
I also put down.
You know what's funny? What's real weird about that, right? In 2020, was it? No, it was 20.
I got 2 other suggestions. Maybe 3. Maybe 4. So this was per CBS Sports. How about Shane Waldron?
I mean, yeah.
I would, yeah.
But like, I don't see him leaving his spot.
Okay, we'll put down Waldron. I'll give you another couple of candidates.
That thing about Webb is like he's a quarterback coach now of Denver, and Russell Wilson's on another level.
Right.
He was obviously backup to Jones, second backup to Jones last year, and he had a good year. And then the year before that, he was backup to Josh Allen, and he had a good year. So there might be a future, but just not yet on head coaches.
Mike McDonald?
Nah.
This is the only first year that defense is actually good since Wink.
Gerard Mayo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard his name be thrown around before. He might get interviews this year.
Todd Monken.
I don't think he's going to leave Baltimore, but I mean,
I don't think
in the future.
I don't think he leaves Baltimore, but he interviewed for the Jets back when they hired Gase, so I can't really rule out much of anything. But Monken, I would consider.
God, I don't know why that still irritates me.
I'm only saying Kafka due to last season he was a hot candidate, but not for this year. It's been awful.
He's not.
I could agree.
There's another name, possibly, if let's just say Baker walks next year, Dave Canales.
Nah.
You don't think so?
No.
It's only been 1 year.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, he also got the most out of Geno Smith last year. He was the quarterback coach.
But my 3 to get all right, I'm going to put this. We could probably wrap up our final thoughts on this. I mean, I could go all day with this, and we could as well. And we can if we want. But top 3, who you think are going to be in the final contention for the Panthers job? I'll start with Luca.
All right, so my top 3, Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy, number 2, number 3, Aaron Glenn. That's my personal opinion. Or if you want to throw in surprise, Vance Joseph.
No. Get out of here, Vance Joseph.
I mean, their defense has turned it around. I mean, the offense has turned around, but they're better this year.
Luca, you're like smiling because you're clowning around.
This is worse than when he was gonna pull his teeth out with tweezers. What was it, pliers? What was the bet on that, by the way?
Wait, no one even bet him. That's the worst part.
No, hold on. This is a good one too. Dan Quinn.
That's a good one.
Dan Quinn. Yeah, I said him before. Yeah.
No, you didn't.
What? Yes, I've said him in the past. You clown.
Yes, he has.
There you go, Luca. Fight for me.
I'm John's backup in that one.
There you go.
Just possible.
But what were you talking about? Pliers.
No, he just volunteered. No one even bet him anything. He just volunteered.
If Nathaniel Hackett somehow becomes full-time head coach, he cannot be an interim.
So if he becomes the head coach, you're gonna pull out your teeth with pliers. Are you talking like this?
It's gonna be dentures.
Should it be my 3 front teeth live on air?
God.
But
does Matt Canada get a head coaching interview?
No.
Lol. No. That's all I'll say. Lol.
John, your top 3 candidates for the realistically, because we're talking about David Tepper here, but
yes, the meddler.
I'm thinking they go. You see, I don't even know if they go offensive. That's the thing. I'd say Ben Johnson has got to be. I think he's going to be the hottest commodity around the NFL next year. I'll say Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy. I'm trying to think of a weird one that I'm not even thinking of. You know what? I'll even say Brian Flores. Screw it. I'll even see if he gets it.
So for me, it'd be. I'm gonna say Ben Johnson number 1. That's consensus. Number 2, I'll take Ejiro Evero. Number 3, I'll take Kellen Moore, and number 4, I'll take Dan Quinn. Will the Bills fire Sean McDermott?
That's a must see. That depends how well they do down the stretch. They have a tough
Maybe if they miss the playoffs.
Possibly.
If they miss the playoffs, I think they would. Like, I know a lot of people, because one of the guys we had on for the Bills previews, like, do not fire Sean McDermott. He's fired all of his last scapegoats, if you think about it. Dorsey, Dable ended up leaving, obviously, beforehand. They don't like each other, but yeah.
Leslie Frazier, obviously, is gone. So he has no more scapegoats. Unless he falls back on injury excuse with Tre'Davious White and all those other guys.
I don't think they're
right, but they lost to the Jets in the first game. There's no. Panthers interviewed Kafka in the offseason. That doesn't make, that's not too surprising.
They also lost to New England this year.
Yeah,
they did. But any final thoughts on the Carolina Panthers?
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Panthers fans. That's all we can say. Especially with your young quarterback. Limited. Let's look at this. Limited assets and meddlesome ownership. That's what you're offering.
Yeah, it's
not like the Jets.
I don't think the Jets have. Wait.
I don't think our assets are limited. I think our
not as limited as Carolina, at least.
Yeah.
So that might be the worst situation in the NFL outside the Jets.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
After tomorrow, the Panthers will have spoken per 9 position. Jim Caldwell actually might get an interview, but
yeah, him too. I didn't think of that.
That's such a meth name.
Steve Wilkes, Jim Caldwell, Shane Steichen, Frank Reich, Ejiro Rivero, Ken Dorsey. He might be considered too. Mike Kafka, Sean Payton, and more. They've also turned down their interest by. They've also had their interest turned down by 3 others: Ben Johnson, Gerard Mayo, and DeMeco Ryans. Obviously, that was last offseason.
Yeah,
he canceled his interview with Carolina due to logistical issues. Well, I would not have wanted to see DeMeco Ryans over in.
And it's funny because we expected Houston to be really bad, but again, first it's funny because Houston hired a first-time offensive coordinator, a first-time head coach, and they drafted a rookie quarterback. Yet, the Panthers, I don't know who their OC is. They had a veteran coach, a rookie quarterback, and I don't know who their OC is. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown. I don't know if he's a first-timer.
And also, the Texans defensive coordinator is a first-timer. But also, you guys want to know a fun fact?
I was going to say real quick before you get to your fun fact, he's not a first-time coordinator he's a first-time coordinator in the NFL, but he was a first-time he was an offensive coordinator at Miami, 2016 to 2018.
Who?
Thomas Brown. I don't know
really?
who
He was under. Oh, okay. Actually, no, he's not. This guy, Matt Burke, is not a first-time. He was actually the defensive coordinator under Gase, which begs the question here. Ready for this one? He was part of the Jets staff. Do not look this up. What role did he have?
What's the name?
Matt Burke.
Linebacker coach.
I thought he was defensive line coach, but Luca might be right.
You two are wrong. He was the game management coach.
That's right.
The first year under Robert Saleh.
Oh my God, he's right.
Yep. Then moved to Arizona for a year, and now is the defensive coordinator over in
I
Houston.
was gonna say like time management.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's
Sucks.
that.
I thought he was like, I was gonna say time management or like, because I remember at one point we had that. So embarrassing.
Top 4 choices for the Panthers head coach: Johnson, Bieniemy, Flores, and Ulbrich. Jets Mess wants Brian Flores as the Jets head coach.
If he can bring an offensive staff, I wouldn't mind it. But just saying, the guy Brown, he coached. I don't know who the starting quarterback was in 2016, but here's some of the talent that he had in 2016 with the Miami Hurricanes. Travis Homer, Chris Herndon, Braxton Berrios, Gus Edwards, Stacy Coley, Mark Walton, and Danny Isidora, and David Njoku, by the way.
Those are some rather interesting names.
Let me see if I can find who the actual quarterback was, but you can continue.
Sky Young says, we all know the Panthers ownership is going to go after a big-time name for the coach. They can't pay Harbaugh, so they'll probably get Ben Johnson. Unless Johnson wants to go to the Chargers.
Or
something else that pops up. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the Saints opening because it's not even happened yet, but Reich, everybody. Now, does he get a offensive coordinator job immediately? Do you guys think that?
I think so.
John?
So.
Say the question again. I'm sorry.
Does Frank Reich get another OC job in the NFL?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's this year, but yeah, he does.
All right. So that will wrap it up for the Panthers segment. Pretty extensive. But also as well, I guess we'll push into the New York Giants a little bit as they took their victory over the New England Patriots yesterday. John's going to sit here and root on the meaningless win, but I'm actually going to throw it to Luca for first thoughts because, I mean, I obviously was at the game. What is John writing down?
I like to see what he's writing down before I get my thoughts. Shit. Winning streak. Love it. But I also must say real quick, I'll have to step out in like a sec, but I'm going to give my first thoughts. You know, I'll tell you this. I was thinking back in my mind between the 2020 Jets and the 2023 Giants. Their scenarios are similar, but not as drastic. You obviously have a better coach in Daboll, who I believe obviously better than Gase and Robert Saleh. But you look at it. Listen, if you're rooting for losses and you're pissed off, I think you have a right to be. But But the way that some of these Giant fans are acting, these clowns, are saying like, I'm going to end my relationship with the fan base. All these different things was ridiculous. But It depends on what you want because I don't think the Giants were going to get Caleb Williams. I think the Panthers are that bad. They're going to get the first overall pick, and that'll be the Bears pick. But at the end of the day, you want to put your eyes on the best quarterback you can find. And I know there's some people out there, oh, what quarterback would survive behind this offensive line, this, and this. Like, how much longer can you ride the Daniel Jones train? In honest opinion. I mean, there is a route next year where you could sign a veteran backup behind Daniel Jones, and you can have Daniel Jones play for another year and then draft a quarterback the next year, but you're kicking the can further down the road. So at the end of the day, I don't blame Giant fans for wanting the best quarterback available. I mean, Caleb Williams is pipe dream at this point. Drake May is a pipe dream at this point. So you're looking at guys like Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix. I mean, Jaden Daniels, I've seen the comp where he's at least comp to Lamar Jackson. Michael Penix, I'm not sure what his comparison is, but he has a hell of a throwing arm. The injuries are a major concern, though. But they also have Bo Nix, who's possible. J.J. McCarthy as well. So now you're just on the second tier of quarterbacks. And now the question is, do you believe they're good enough where they could carry you where you wanted to be? Now, obviously, Daniel Jones, in my opinion, does not have the talent level where he can overcome certain deficiencies in the offense, whether it be the offensive talent, the play calling, whatever. Does McCarthy, you got to ask yourself, does McCarthy have that? Does Bo Nix have that? Does Michael Penix have that? Does, I missed on another quarterback, Nix, Penix, and McCarthy.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, thank you. Daniels. Do they have the talent to overcome certain deficiencies? And I'm going to ask you this, Alex, obviously, before I head for just to grab something. Do you think Jaden Daniels, do you think you would have to have a run-first system under Jaden Daniels to open his NFL career?
I would have to look at the tape for that. I'm going to give a solid answer. Because I don't want to speak on something I haven't watched.
Right.
Like I've watched 2 full games of Caleb Williams, and both were losses. I've watched 1 full game of Michael Penix. So that tells you pretty much all you need to know. This is an interesting one. It's actually a Jets question. And Scott, I'll get your comment too. What do you think about John Gruden for the Jets? See, I wouldn't. And everything was going well for them up until that email scandal. Because they actually were going to be a winning team, but obviously,
yeah, I'm gonna say no on Chucky. No, thank you.
No on Chucky. Mm-hmm. No on Chucky. And then Luke will probably have the same answer, but we got to ask him anyway. John, your first thoughts on the Giants' victory?
And I know I joke with Alex a lot about the winning streak, but in all seriousness, there were some really good, encouraging signs to see from yesterday's game. Now, I'll admit, it was an ugly game. A 10-7 game is always going to be an ugly game, as you saw it firsthand, obviously. But kudos to the defense that played really good. Kudos to Tommy Chicken Cutlet DeVito. I think he finished with a touchdown and 191 passing yards yesterday. He didn't, play fantastic, but he didn't really cost you the game. So there was that to be proud of. But some guys here or some things that you could take and positive and go moving forward. First off, we had the first 100-yard game for Jalen Hyatt, which is good. And I know Mr. Alex over here asked Brian Dable a question about it in the interview, or not the interview, in the presser after the game. So make sure you guys go check that out. But Jalen Hyatt, it's really been a quiet season for him. And, I liked him coming out of Tennessee. I remember last year I even watched pretty much that whole game where he had 5 or 6 touchdowns against Bama. So really someone that I liked out of college. Alex was in the highest on him. I don't remember where Luka was on him, but he had 5 catches, 109 yards yesterday. I think there was I think it was the second quarter. Later in the second quarter, he had a big play, 41-yard catch during that. So that was a really good to see that he's, they're going downfield with him and giving him the ball more because, he should be your number 1 targeted receiver at this point, especially since you're not going anywhere and still has a lot of promise. And it was good to see him put up a big day against New England. And then, now probably the better part, the defense. Well, how about I'll mention 2 names and I'll talk about Wink a little. How about Deonte Banks, right? Your actual first-round pick. He's had a very good game yesterday against the Pats, in my opinion. He's had some good plays during the season. For example, he had a really good game. I think it was I don't remember when you guys played Washington, but I think it was week 8.
Week 7.
Week 7, you played Washington. He had that pick, which was really good. He had the first pick on Daniel Jones yesterday. So
don't you mean Mac Jones?
Sorry, Mac Jones, not Daniel Jones. Jesus, wrong Jones. All right, at least mine was understandable. Okay, but he had a pick there yesterday, so that was good. It was a point. Don't get me wrong. Mac Jones is an awful quarterback, and he made a really poor decision, but that was still a good play by Banks that led to the pick. So, good job there. And I think your best defensive player all season has been Bobby Okereke. Probably Joe Shane's best move of the offseason, in my opinion, to sign him. As we remember last year, the linebackers were a dreadful spot to watch for the Giants, but Okereke has probably been one of the best linebackers in football. Actually, I think he's top 5 in tackles this year. So he also had a pick yesterday on another awful throw from Mac Jones. So that was really good to see. But the Okereke interception led to the Giants' touchdown later in that drive or later in the sequence. So that was good. And I got to give it up to Wink Martindale because there was the whole report with him and Dable, clashing, right? And they had all this tension. I know the media asked about it a lot during yesterday's game, but he forced the Pats with 3 interceptions yesterday. I mean, I mentioned Banks, Okereke, and it was McKinney who picked off. He had 2 actually yesterday. So he did have 2, correct? He had one on Jones and Zappy, or am I?
It was Banks, Okereke, and McKinney.
So it was 3. I'm sorry about that, but he pretty much stymied New England, who I didn't want to say they looked, good by any stretch of the imagination, but to at least hold them to what they did yesterday. I mean, you can't really complain about that. And going into Luka with his point about the quarterback. So if you're a Giants fan, right, you probably don't get a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, but there are some other guys that are available. I started watching a little film. You got J.J. McCarthy. You got Jaden Daniels. You could go after a Bo Nix if you really wanted to. I don't think he might be a first-round option, but he's just an option. You get Michael Penix. Whoever you guys feel comfortable with is your guy. And if you don't like any of these quarterbacks, well, maybe you sign or trade for someone in the offseason. Maybe build the offensive line better. So there's still some things to work on, obviously, but there are some encouraging signs for this team. But I'll give it over to Alex.
Question for Luka that John answered.
Ooh, I'm going to say pass.
Thank you.
Like, before Gruden had his issues, he still wasn't a good coach.
Imagine Gruden and Brian Flores on the same staff. But I guess what Scott meant is Giants GM said they will be looking at quarterbacks due to the fact that Daniel Jones may not be ready to begin next season. The main thing about Banks is he's playing a lot, and it's great news, and he's getting experience. So what he said in a presser today was, he said Daniel Jones is expected to be the starter next year, which is GM talk. Let's be fair.
Mm-hmm.
On that note as well, he also said we're going to have to do something at quarterback because Tyrod's a free agent. Quarterback depth is going down. So that tells you he may draft a quarterback. He may not draft a quarterback. Personally, I would be in line to draft a quarterback. I'm going to talk about some other things, but I do want to play the videos that were taken from the questions at the press conference yesterday. Let's start with Jalen Hyatt and his development for the rest of the season. Coach, I'd argue that Jalen Hyatt was the offensive MVP this game. There's been a little consistency as far as getting him involved this season. As far as
with what? I'm sorry.
I would say that there's been a little bit. I'd argue that he would be the offensive
I just want to make sure what you're saying.
MVP. There's been a little inconsistency as far as the game plan from week by week basis. How, even past the bye week, how sensitive is it, for lack of better words, to get him more involved down the stretch as a rookie?
Yeah, I just think Jalen's got to continue to do his job. He does everything we ask him to do, and when he's open, he gets the ball thrown to him, then he makes a play. So, again, This guy has worked extremely hard since he's been here. He's a young player, like Tommy, like John Michael, like somebody Wandell, that we just got to keep bringing along. And those guys work extremely hard to do everything they can possibly do.
And then before we get to everything else, what's up to Jeffrey in the chat? And then Almighty, of course, is clowning around. But here's my question. Everyone wanted, and I said this on the live stream yesterday, everyone wanted to talk about Tommy DeVito and this and, all this other stuff. Well, I asked them a legitimate question. I said, how are you going to better your pocket presence? Tommy, you've been sacked a lot of times in the first couple of starts, but that's something, a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL don't win games getting sacked a lot. You've done that. While you have won games for the New York Giants, specifically 2 straight, what are some things you could do to ready up your pocket presence a little bit more? Is it a communication thing with the O-line? What's the story there?
There's more just getting the ball out quicker. Just give and take with all of it. Some of them could have been some coverage deals. I just got to make some more plays. Start running a little bit more, maybe a little sooner, getting the ball out of my hands. Using some throwaways more. It's all stuff I'm going to be able to watch every snap that I've had so far during this bye week to be able to, reevaluate myself and learn from it.
What part of that does it say not Italian? Because he looks the Italian part.
You see the chain he's got on.
The black shirt, the chain.
What's up to Afram in the chat? No, Sudil, we did not get a call from Kim Jones.
He was expecting one, though.
I was not. That's completely false. Why was DeVito looking at you like that? I mean, I saw that was a DeVito clip. Yep. I posted on Twitter. I posted on YouTube. YouTube actually got pretty good views. Twitter got even better. He is Italian. But I'll say this before I get into my defensive coordinator stuff. And if you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to all the good stuff. Giants are at 4-8. Because they didn't hit their bye yet. They're not in contention for a Drake May. They're not in contention for a guy like Caleb Williams. And we had this discussion last week. What do you if you're a fan / a coach, maybe more on the fan side, content creator side, and I'll start with Luke on this. You have played yourself out of a situation where you get a top 2 pick. What do you do for the rest of the season? What do you worry about? Because there's the locker room, there's the wink stuff, obviously. Some of these guys may or may not be here next year. We know Jalen Hyatt's going to be here. We know Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be here. We know Saquon may or may not be here. You know, Daniel Jones obviously is not going to be the starter for the rest of the season because he's on IR. What are some things are you putting forward as a fan, and obviously in my shoes, if you will?
Mm-hmm.
Would you put forward a tanking mentality and still say, no, I want the team to lose every game? Or would you say, if they win a game, who gives a flying rat's ass at this point? Because that just builds the culture going into next year where you're going to get a quarterback either way. You could possibly trade up. You have 2 second-round picks, and you also have to build the O-line and all that other stuff. I don't know. I'm going to see how much the Giants have in cap space next year. Actually, I have it right on this page. The Giants will have about $36 million next year in cap, which actually isn't terrible, but of course there's positions and all that other stuff. But I'll start with Luca, and I'll read the chat afterwards and before we go to John. What are you prioritizing down the stretch if you're a fan / content creator, maybe even the coach's mentality?
As a content creator and a fan, I understand, for me, I would continue to root for losses, but competitive losses to somewhat ensure that Joe Shane and Brian Dable can right their wrongs next year and stick around. I do think maybe a stretch at the end. It depends because, not everything from this year to next year is guaranteed. Like if Tommy DeVito goes on a run this year, if he becomes a backup quarterback next year, is going to be the same. Because, again, not everything is guaranteed in 1 year. You have this year to do it, and then next year's a whole new season. Trust me. We saw that, John. We ended the 2019 season on a 6-2 run that became nothing. So some of these runs can carry over, some of them can't. You do have players coming back next year, as you mentioned. You also do have some players that won't be coming back. Saquon Barkley, possibly, Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney, who's voiced his displeasure. So I think you want competitive losses. I would worry, like, you don't want to play yourself, again, out of a quarterback position. I also don't think that the Giants are a bad enough organization where, they have to keep relying on the draft constantly for a high draft pick. It's again, for some people, it's about who they pick, not where they pick. But I would continue to root for losses, in my opinion. I don't tell people how to root, but I would like them to explain, like, why you root for wins. You could always ask that question. It's not an unjustified question. So at the end of the day, you can root for losses. It doesn't make you any less of a fan. Trust me, I know that. But I think the Giants are a better organization in which that if they somehow they'll stay in the top 10, but if they pick like a Jaden Daniels, they can make the most of him. Same thing with a Michael Penix. Like, they don't have to have the best option because they're at least a well-rounded franchise. Different from the Trevor Lawrence saga a couple of years ago when we were rock bottom and all of that different stuff. So you could root for losses. Is it the end of the world if you have like number 6th overall and your best quarterback option maybe Jaden Daniels? Again, I haven't watched a ton of Jaden Daniels. So again, I know Barbara's mentioned in the comments, the wins do hurt your draft stock. We understand that. And I'm, if I was a Giant fan, I'd be rooting for losses. But at the end of the day, is it the end of the world if you end up at 6? No, because I think the Giants are a competent organization that can draft and build around the players. So again, you can root for the tank, and that's what I would be doing, rooting for the tank. They can root for losses.
A lot of comments to get to here. It's a weird feeling to watch during a game, of course. Of course, I'm in tank mode, and I hate it, but I know it's what's best. Cam Ward. With the kid from, I think, was it Washington State? Last 2 wins hurt us. Is Karen Rodgers going to be gone in 60 seconds again in 2024, or do the Jets move on from the drama?
There's no drama with him.
Yeah, there's the only drama that's with him is if he's coming back at the end of the year. So I don't really,
Carolina is firmly implanted into the top pick, which will be the Bears pick.
It's going to end up being the Bears. That's right. No pick for Carolina.
Do you think Bill Belichick will leave the New England Patriots?
If not this year, the next year. I don't see him lasting too much longer.
I would lean yes, but it's not a strong feeling 100%. How tall is he, and who is his Arnold Schwarzenegger? This is a Twins reference from 1988. Okay, so also I'll present you guys the draft order. As of right now, it is the Bears technically, but that's Panthers. It is Arizona, New England, because Arizona has more losses. Then you have Chicago. Then you have Washington. Then you have the Giants. So the Giants are currently at 6 right now. Now the Bears are winning. Let's go Bears. But New England, we'll see how they're stretch. I think Washington could win a game or two down the stretch. Like, they're not going to win this week against the Dolphins, but they could.
They can beat us.
Yeah, if you guys are rooting for the tank. In your honest opinion, I'll start with Luca because obviously we're continuing off, and then I'll go to John's point on his answer. What do you think is, like, based on the draft order, like the highest pick they could get? Me is like 3-4, but that's a stretch a little bit because they're at 4 wins right now, and they still got to play Green Bay.
I'm going to look at Tankathon. I'm also going to look at the remaining schedule for the other teams. So
I have top 10.
Okay.
But I also have a strength of schedule if you need.
Let's look at the Bears' schedule, shall we? So, upcoming, they have the Lions, they have the Browns, they have the Cardinals.
They could beat the Browns.
Possibly, but that's also in Browns territory. Maybe they try to fight for a playoff spot. I don't know. So their upcoming schedule is Lions, Browns, Cardinals, Falcons, and Packers. Maybe I see a win with the Falcons. Maybe I see a win with the Cardinals. So you're thinking possibly maybe 2, maybe 3 wins out of that. So you're probably going to shift them upwards. New England.
Green Bay, too.
Right. Green Bay as well, but Green Bay played well against the Niners, so maybe that's something. Patriots schedule. They also have the Jets, so I'll just mention that.
Sometimes it's about a QB that falls in the draft. Scouts wrong all the time. It's about luck. Mahomes did fall to 9th draft. That's very true. But it could be a matter of ways with the Jets. They could either beat the Jets just to beat the Jets, or they could go out there and be like, hey, we're going to let you guys win. We want draft position.
So for the Patriots, they have Chargers, the Steelers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Jets. So Bills is a loss, in my opinion. Broncos, I think, is a loss, in my
opinion. Unless they beat the Jets, they're not winning another game this year.
Yeah, I agree on that.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe they beat the Steelers, but I don't think that's even a case because maybe the offense looks a little bit better with
no Matt Canada.
they put up 400 yards, so maybe that's something for them. But getting to another team, I think Arizona might stay at 2. Let me look at their schedule. Cardinals schedule. Here we go. Steelers, Niners, Bears, Eagles, Seahawks.
Bears
might be the only win on that schedule.
And that they got 2 wins, so that doesn't. I mean, again, they could win against somebody else and blow the shit for the tank, but right now I'm looking at 3 wins for Arizona.
Commanders schedule, and this will be my last part. Dolphins, Rams, Jets, Niners, and Cowboys. I see 1 win on that schedule.
I feel like they could beat the Rams, just like as an upset.
Maybe 1-2. So ideally, right now, I think the Commanders move out of 5. I think they stay maybe at 5 potentially. The Giants could be 4, and then maybe, So
is it a higher percentage of strength of schedule that gets you a top pick, or is it lower?
Maybe it's higher. I think. I'm not sure.
Actually, it technically. So the Giant, because I don't know, because it's tough because they're at 518 and we're at 521, but we also beat them twice.
I think you have to have a lower strength of schedule.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at Tampa Bay and the Jets. They're both 4-7. Jets have a 516 strength of schedule. Tampa Bay is a 489, but the Tampa is ahead of the Jets, so they're 7.
So my theory is the Giants get like 4, 5, or 6.
That's probable. I say 4.
Yeah, 5. I'd say 5.
5 again.
5.
But see, look, all right, that's interesting though, because the Giants have had 4 before in this century. This century, Jesus Christ. This decade. That's Andrew Thomas. They've had 5, Kayvon Thibodeau. They've also had 6, Daniel Jones. You know what'd be interesting? If they get number 6 and then they end up taking a quarterback. What do you think? Who they will probably select a quarterback. I would bet that they probably end up selecting Drake May, my opinion, or Caleb Williams, and then terrorize the Jets for another 13 years. So that's why you guys got to lose on. Please, as someone, and again, the Patriots might not win another game for the rest of the season, but please lose to the Pats. But John, what are your thoughts on what you would prioritize if you're a fan, content creator down the stretch, knowing you're out of the contention for a top 2 pick, but also there's still quarterbacks to be had. You don't want to win too many meaningless games. What are your thoughts?
Well, my position's been the same. You need to lose games, and you can't look. Just don't be embarrassed, and don't make it unwatchable to a point. Like for my instance, where I can't watch the Jets. Don't make it like that for Alex and the rest of the Giants fans. You guys, if you guys lose competitively, I'm sure the fan base will be okay. I'm sure you'll get your guy next year, okay? Whether you draft someone or whether you acquire someone else, right? I think that also you can't have any of this, tension. I don't know if it's real or not between Wink and Dable. I don't know your thoughts on that, Alex, but you can't have any of that really go on. Have all these like heated discussions in the locker room. You can't lose the locker room too, because you want, like you said, you want to build a culture. You want to make sure that guys are still bought in for next year. So there's that factor. But again, you guys do need a quarterback. Most likely are going to draft one. And if you don't draft one, I imagine that you get someone in the offseason and use that top pick on either an offensive lineman or receiver. if I'm saying if you decide to trade for someone or if you decide to sign someone as a starter, that's just my opinion. But we could see how they approach the offseason because they have the defense sort of in place. They just need to start fixing that offense.
I would argue they're a corner and a safe. No, I would argue they're a defensive lineman and an edge rusher and a safety away from being an elite defense. Offense is obviously a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
What's up to Raph? If you guys ever go sub up to Raph's channel, he does a great job over there. A fellow Raiders fan. What did Joe Shane say? I didn't listen to it. So he said a couple of different things. He said that Daniel Jones is going to be the starter in 2024. He doesn't know when Daniel Jones is going to be back. He also said.
Anyways, I want to interject for a question.
Okay.
You think that the Giants would be this gung-ho on Tommy DeVito where they make him a temporary starter next year until Daniel Jones comes back? Or do you think that
no, there's no way you would take it serious. If the Giants do that, they're tanking another year.
Yeah, if the Giants did that, that would be just as irresponsible as leaving up your season to Zach Wilson. Oh, wait, another team did that, so.
John's trying to just like hide his anger.
I'm sorry, it's the best.
But
tell one time if we all did this for like a minute and we just sat in silence.
But also, if you guys have any sub up to Lou's channel and also Jeffrey's channel too.
Thank you for having me on yesterday, Lou.
It was on Lou's channel or it was on Pat? Well, actually,
it was on Pat's, but again, it was Pat, Lou, it was those guys, so I appreciate them.
Why did Wink get fired in Baltimore? Because he didn't adjust to the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole issue. But what the hell was the tangent I was going off on before Luka decided to do this?
You're talking about you saying the offense is where it needs to work, like I was.
Oh yeah, basically that. But I was going through some questions I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Alonso's at the Ranger game tonight. Smarter than this, and he should have gone to a Broadway play.
Yeah, talk to me. We can talk when your team's in first place. I know we lost, but
I'm not wasting money on a corner again, Almighty. I know Jalen Johnson's good. I'm just not putting money there.
You're gonna draft one?
That was a one. Thank you, Almighty. He said Daniel Jones is going to be the starter next year. He expects him to be. He said that he may or may not be ready in time. They don't know. He said he doesn't know where that type of stuff comes from in response to the Wink, Martindale / Dable rumors about them having tension. He also said that they need depth at quarterback, so they may or may not draft one or get one in free agency, which, you take whatever you want that. And also, this is a very interesting quote from Mr. Joe Shane. He said, quote unquote, I still believe in Daniel, the person.
Did he say the player?
No.
That's
like saying, I believe in Jesus Christ. But anyway, no, by the way, I'm not saying he's Jesus Christ.
It's like saying I believe in Jesus Christ, but not Christianity. Exactly. Or something like that.
What's up to Crackle Nuts? He says, did the Jets win against the Dolphins?
No.
Good one. Good one, Crackle Nuts. Good one.
Just think Chicago could come out of this draft with Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a good thought. They should also, I don't know if you would pass up Marvin Harrison, but I would take a tackle.
I would too.
Maybe they got like the second round pick probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
you could find receivers later in the draft. Like go get your offensive line.
Yeah. It'll return this week actually. It'll return Wednesdays. Last week was Thanksgiving week. Did he say anything about the top draft pick? No, he did not. The thing he said closest to whatever you would ask in that situation is if we feel that if we feel the best position. Trying to remember how he said it. He said we're going to select the best player possible, and if the position we feel is there, we're going to take it. So something along those lines. Of course, you said Jones is a starter. He's on a contract, but once they draft a QB, what the fuck was that, Luca?
What did he do?
I muted it, so it was a sneeze.
Oh, all right. But once they draft a QB, he'll say something else. Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking his words 100%. So, I will start with Luka again on this one. And I know we haven't done a ton of game analysis, but it was a 10-7 game. I mean, let's just be fair. I'll start with Luka on this one. And he was also on Big Patch channel. Shouts to him. What are your thoughts on and this is, again, the chat can chime in too. What are your thoughts on the rumors from Jay Glazer yesterday about Wink Martindale and Brian Dable possibly having outs?
There are rumors. I asked the other panel about it. Obviously those guys, but I think Wink would be a weird scapegoat. The defense had a very slow start to the season, but they've regained their composure and all. They've obviously regained their form. They obviously may try to make the Giants competitive in games. Hence why they beat the Patriots. Hence why they almost beat the Jets. All these, close losses in recent. But at the end of the day, it would be silly to fire Wink Martindale. I mean, I think there's also more fireable candidates on your staff, including your offensive coordinator and also including your special teams coach, Thomas McGahee. So at the end of the day, I think Wink's style works. I think the players like Wink. Maybe it's about I know our buddy Johnny 5 was mentioning on Twitter. Maybe it's about Xavier McKinney being so outspoken.
Okay. John, your thoughts?
Now, here's the thing. I don't want to say that Wink's going to 100% be here next year, but when a coach doubles down on something, as me and Luca would know, when a coach doubles down on someone or something, they aren't lying in most cases. So I don't think Dable would necessarily double down on pretty much downplaying it, or I don't want to say he didn't really confirm or deny, but he kind of pushed it aside and said oh, we even met for donuts, to make the relationship seem good. I don't really think he would go out of his way to do that if it wasn't. So I don't really buy that there's this whole big tension in there. I don't know why Fox really put it out there in the first place, because Jay Glazer is the one that reported it. But it wouldn't shock me if Wink is gone in a year or two, if he wants to pursue a coaching job.
Sky has a good point. He says Joe Shane did bring up Evan Neal, and he plans to leave him at right tackle. He specifically said he has to play better, and he knows that, which is, Wink is good. Giants defense has been the strong point this year. So I'll intervene my thoughts. I was pissed when I heard it in the press box yesterday. I went on my computer, I was eating my waffles and bacon, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I read it, and it was from Dove Kleiman, that fake guy.
He's actually real, but he's a creepy.
Yeah, he's a
creepy.
Yeah, he's a little odd.
There's a reason why I said that.
He's a little odd, but
I mean, that's what happens when you stalk certain actresses.
Okay, I know what you're referring to,
but so I'm like, what the hell is this? So I see a bunch of people retweeting it, and my thoughts are this, right? Has Wink been the best defensive coordinator in football? No. There are times where I've been pissed with Wink. There was a couple of times, his unit has been up to par. The 49ers game, they were missing a bunch of tackles, but you take out the Dallas game and the Raider game, and I know you really can't do that, but I just don't see as to why that would be any reasonable option. How many times, I don't know, maybe you guys didn't read it, but Jihad Ward, Bobby Okereke, Kayvon Thibodeau, they came out after yesterday's game in response to those rumors and said, we love playing for this guy. Do we see, and I'm going to ask the chat this too, do we see offensive players saying, hey, I want to play for Mike Kafka? Do we see that? Do we see that about Bobby Johnson or T-Mac? No, we don't. These guys are bought into Wink's system. They play on an excellent level. And let me mind you this. Bobby Okereke has a fractured rib, right? Dexter Lawrence was out yesterday, and the run defense was not great, but they still held up. They still put pressure on. Isaiah Simmons was in there. They had 3 picks. And my question before the reporters took it from me, and of course they're going to jump on it before me, and I wanted to leave it to them a little bit because I didn't want to jump over them being paid to do this shit. My question would have been, there were rumors before the game, right? Did this plan against the Patriots change your opinion on Wink and the fact that the defense has won you almost every game this season and has kept it close? So and maybe I know against Dallas, like they were sparring a little bit. I just don't get why. Like, why would Dable pick a fight with Wink? I'm not saying it's a bullshit report, because I think there's some truth to it. I think Jay Glazer's right. If it was via like somebody else, some scrap heap or some schmuck, I think we would be like, I don't trust this. But Dan Duggan first kind of like tweaked it. He kind of like, sent it out in bits a few weeks ago, and then now it's kind of like, Jay Glazer reported it. So let's see. Again, I'm not, and there was that report by Tony Pauline too, that they'll probably get rid of both defensive coordinators. I did a video on it, but I think that Wink would be the wrong scapegoat. I think that they need to change up the coaching staff. I think they need to change up the special teams and offensive line coaches. And if you want to, go change up the offensive coordinator before you go out and get a quarterback. Luca's raising his hand again.
I was listening to Big E yesterday because he was on the panel, and he actually gave an interesting philosophy as to why he thinks that neither are getting along. He believes that I think what he was trying to say is that Dable and Wink were not cut from the same cloth, essentially. Like, Wink is more of an aggressor, or I think he was trying to say something along the lines like that. Like, Wink is more of a not a tough guy, but like a hard-on person, or at least a more, I guess, maybe more disciplinarian. I'm not sure, or just a hard-nosed guy. And Dable's not like that. He's a little more passive. I mean, you have to ask him his opinion, but that's what I'm trying to remember.
I don't think Dable's that passive, though, in my opinion.
I get what he's saying, right? I think maybe Dable as a head coach kind of wants a different defensive philosophy, because look where he came from. He came from Buffalo.
Now, can I also ask this? Do you think there's some truth that it could be a possibility? Now, this wasn't confirmed by rumors. This is all speculation at the end of the day. Do you think it's because Wink wants to play for wins and Dable wants to tank for losses, or so on and so on?
No, I don't think it's anything to do with that. So back to my point, though, and the chat's blowing up, so I got to get to them, of course. But my thing is this, right? I think Wink obviously learned from Rob Ryan. He learned from those guys. He learned from Dean Pease. He's part of that blitz heavy system. And I love that. Like, I love that, honestly. Like, I think we got the right scheme. Like, we got the right personnel in most of the parts. But I think Dable, he came from Buffalo, right? Leslie Frazier was the defensive coordinator for years, and he was passive. Like, they didn't blitz a lot. They didn't do all these different funky looks. I want to say that Dable probably wants more of a traditional defense. And I don't want that personally. Like, I love Wink's scheme already. And I feel like it is such an antithesis of what Patrick Graham was doing. I love it, because I'm not going to, too high safety, fucking, cover to this. I'm like, no, none of this bend but don't break crap. The Giants haven't been able to get to the passer. And maybe they do need to revert back to a 4-3 system. But I don't think now is like, maybe now you could probably cut bait and just shake up the coaching staff. I don't think it's a good idea for the locker room, though. I don't think generally it's a good idea. The other part is the Xavier McKinney thing. So I'll explain this in the context, and I'll get to the chat as well. Is obviously Xavier McKinney's been outspoken this year about, the players not being heard, or the leaders not being heard, or this, that, and the other thing. And he's been on a bunch of nonsense before this interception against the Patriots. And to go into specifics, like, he criticized Wink Martindale. Like, he openly criticized him or something like that. And Wink said that he was hurt by it because he's never in his career had a player like publicly call him out. And, he openly talked to the media, Wink-wise, about how he handled the situation with X. He goes, "Tell me what play that you didn't agree with." That's what he said to him. And X took a little bit to answer, but then he answered some coverage play. It was one play. But I get where maybe Dabes is coming from, to be like, you can't say that type of shit, but shut Xavier McKinney up. Like, this dude's talking because, and there's so many like variables that go into it as well. And I see people like, oh, we got to re-sign Xavier McKinney. I don't know about that. And you know what? Here's the thing too. If we're gonna sit here and start throwing, whose fault is what, my inner philosophy is this. Maybe he's talking because he didn't get extended. Maybe you blame that on the GM. Just a thought. That's not Wink's fault. Why is it Wink's fault that he didn't get extended? So, I mean, and then after that, like, Wink said something along the lines of, like, yeah, I don't know if Xavier is going to start this week. I think this was against either the Cowboys or something along the lines. Like, I don't know if he's going to start this week. And then X was like, was I supposed to be benched? I'm here for a win. So it just created like a nonsense attitude in the locker room. But I want to get to some of the comments here. Breaking news: the Jets are hiring Frank Reich. Bears Vikings tied. I think people are trying to find a scapegoat why the Giants are struggling this year. They blame Shane, Dable, then Kafka, then Jones, then Barkley, then the defense. Now Wink. I want to play for Robert Saleh. I don't think. But no. Hold on a second. I'll provide why he's right. Why he's right.
Uh-oh.
He'll play for Robert Saleh because he gets to do what the fuck he wants. There's no accountability. Almighty, you could commit all the penalties you want. You won't be benched for shit. Unless you're Michael Carter.
I didn't have a bacon date. I was going to get napkins, and she happened to get bacon. Yes, something needs to change with our offense. It's stale and awful. Oh yes, that was the famous quote in a press conference. Yeah, the only time we fight is over the pizza. The piece of pizza. Wink is the Phil Nevin of the Giants. Wink is much better than Phil Nevin. Like, I don't think. Where there's smoke, there's fire. True. Anyway, Banks is defensive rookie of the year for the NFC. I don't know how Davon Witherspoon is playing, so I would say this, right, and maybe you guys will agree or disagree with me. Dex Lawrence, Banks, and Okereke would be getting so much more attention had the Giants been winning right now.
That's true.
Like, I would argue that all three, maybe not Banks, but Okereke and Lawrence would be Pro Bowlers. McKinney sucked the first half. His last few games have been better. He was getting run over by Josh Dobbs. Yeah, he's not escaping that. Parcells, Belichick, and Spags were our best defensive coordinators. McKinney isn't the star he thinks he is. McKinney is good, but star money, not worth it. I agree. Like, get a safety at some point, develop him. Yeah, and Jason Pinnock has been great. Thank you guys for that one. I hated Patrick Graham's defense giving up points. That was terrible. 2021, every time they gave up points before the half. This was interesting. Vinny says Brian Costello in PD Space tonight says he doesn't expect any coaching changes for the Jets coaching staff.
An abomination of a goddamn organization.
We got the Mickey ears.
I'm surprised. But thank you, Vinny, for pointing that.
Mickey.
Well, you want me to pull out the Mickey ears? That's right.
Yes.
I'm not going to do that.
No. Just for this comment. All right, he's gonna pull it out. With the Nevin comment. Oh, yeah. I would. I think they all hold guys accountable, except like Dable, and I think he holds his guys accountable, and I think Wink does. Kafka's like from the booth, so it's like, he's not much down there. But we're gonna have a special presentation from Mickey here.
Uh-oh. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
There we go. New York Jets, everybody. New York Jets.
He looks like one of them people who wore the turkey heads. The turkey hats. But I'm not surprised.
MICKEY MOUSC.
For Cause's report. Well, I mean, that's all going to go to
ERTSALEH.
I mean, that's all going to go to crap when the Falcons.
Do your dance, Luca. Do your dance.
Do I have to? You guys are putting me up for such humiliation.
You were the one that wanted to bring it out.
This is the New York Jets, everybody. I did this last week. Obviously not enough.
For instance, this is the Jets got in bed with Rodgers. This is not going well. Randy Collins was a better safety, and we didn't re-sign him. He's not worth it. We
Do I have
replace
to
him.
go over why we have to get Aaron Rodgers? But I'm not going over that now. I'm not going to trance over Alex's segment. I'm not going to be disrespectful.
Thank you. But no, I wouldn't say Collins was way better. He was more of a role player. And
You guys had him last year. That's right.
we did. And we also had Tony Jefferson. So,
Tony Jefferson.
but also, by the way, Kayvon Thibodeau, I think he's tied for. Let's look this up. I don't know if Daniil Hunter has any sacks tonight.
I'm not sure either.
But currently, Kayvon Thibodeau sits at tied for he's 8th in the NFL in sacks. There's a 3-way tie for first, second, and third, and there's a 2-way tie for 5th and 6th, and then there's a 2-way tie for 7th and 6th. Excuse me. So I messed up my numbers a little bit there, but a lot of people, and I'm not saying that I saw him as a bust, but he's playing to very much an elite level, in my opinion. Luca's dance needs to be made into a GIF. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Armin.
If Rodgers can play this weekend, if Rodgers could play this year, he damn better. Why? Give me a good reason why pigs like Hackett and Lazard should be on this team next year.
I see where you're going. That point's been brought up to me. Not like that he should I'm against him playing, honestly. But I've had, people in one person in my threads who was a good buddy of mine, he said, let's see what he is with this offense. Let him work out the kinks and all. See if we need to go offensive line or quarterback next year.
I bet you Vinny would have torched that Jets panel, by the way.
Oh, he would have. Joe Beningo said, it's just Joe Beningo says that he should play this year for the fans, just for the sake of the fans. I know he's going to want to come back, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, he should not come back because God forbid he risks injury behind this putrid offensive line. Who the hell is playing behind this offensive line and succeeding? I mean, Rodgers can get the ball. There's certain quarterbacks who can make an offensive line better by just reading a defense, checking protections, and getting the ball out quickly. That's what Rodgers can do. But with Xavier Newman and Max Mitchell on the right side, I absolutely don't trust it.
And you don't know when Schweitzer's coming back.
They said he's returning this week.
Oh, yeah, but Robert Saleh also says a lot of things, but I don't.
And Dwayne Brown's supposed to come back this week too.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Landon Collins had 100 tackles with us for 3 seasons, and he was no. I'm not denying that, but I'm saying last year's Landon Collins was a role player. Anyone who wants Rodgers to play this year can jump off a cliff.
Jeez.
Well, in Vinny's defense, he wants something to watch. If you're I will say this, right? As what, Luca?
No, I was going to say Vinny wants what I got off of Vinny saying is he wants there to be a reason. He wants there to be a reason for why Hackett and Lazard are here. He wants him to play with Rodgers and say, hey, there's a reason for them to be here. And if there's not,
I understand that, but there's no point of even risking injury.
Well, at the same time, as a Jets fan, it gives you something to watch.
Yeah, for what? We're out of the playoffs.
I'm not watching it unless if he did come back, I'd watch. But I'm not watching Jets football.
I think next season Dable calls offensive plays. Let's hope. I don't think so.
You think they'll hire Ken Dorsey?
I think he could be hired, but not the offseason. Hunter has half a sack tonight. Makes sense. Let's see what else. Hey, what happened to the receiver we had in the preseason for Buffalo? His name has slipped my mind. Are you talking about Isaiah Hodgins? Because I'm trying to think Buffalo wide receivers. He had he did have a touchdown yesterday. Funny enough, you should say that. In every single game that I've been to since Hodgins was a Giant, other than the Giant-Jet game, he scored a touchdown in. I'm his good luck charm. Colts game, Washington game, this past game. Well, of course you'd rather watch Mahomes than the Jets. That's like saying I'd rather eat a roast turkey than the friggin' spaghetti at the back of the fridge that's been sitting there for the last 7 years. My job pissed me off. And
Oh,
Cole Beasley. Thank you, Jacob. I'm like, other than Hodgins, I don't know who it could be. But Beasley was released from the team a few weeks ago. He wanted another opportunity to play to where he would start, and he has not found that opportunity since. So, chat, of course, you could still ask the questions and stuff like that, and the final thoughts. Final thoughts from the panel, from the Giants' perspective, of course.
Giants should keep on losing. My suggestion, as an official person who's rooted for a tank.
So you're calling yourself a tank expert?
Listen, we tried to do that 3 years ago, and it didn't work out.
Okay. John? Get the fuck out of here with winning streak.
Yeah, winning streak, boys.
I'm just wondering if we even should stream the Monday night game.
Listen, Jordan Love had played well last week, so I think so.
Yeah, we might.
Might as well.
Great show, boys. Any Knicks streams this week? We got one tomorrow, actually, right?
Tomorrow.
Against the Hornets.
Tomorrow against the
We
Hornets.
also stick around for our Knicks segment. We're going to break into that, obviously.
Yeah, we're going to, what is that, right next, right?
Well, we got the picks, and then I think we got that next.
Ooh, that's right. I got to write down. I didn't even. I was caught up.
Beating Miami, yep. Cole Beasley, yep. The guy said Harbaugh or bust, and 5 people had hold me back. I wanted to put his head through a wall. Well, you sure that wasn't sparring? I feel like Armand kind of had that energy from last night when he was telling John he was going to hit him with a truck and, or a train. And Luca was also saying he wants Harbaugh, and some of the chat saying they want Harbaugh.
Bro, I'm not going into this discussion again.
We're not
over what we're going to do.
Yeah. All right.
Well, also, it's probably not going to happen because Robert Saleh will be back. It's not Sally, Jono. It's Robert Saleh.
No,
it's Sally.
He's a silly
he'll have pigtails at the side of his head. Even though I just portrayed it as devil horns because I think Robert
what do you mean pigtails? He's bald.
He'll attach it.
All right. Are we going to get into picks?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Thursday night football. We'll start it off. Seahawks, Cowboys.
Dallas.
I guess we're all going Big D because I got the Cowboys too. All right. Next up, division game. Colts, Titans.
Colts are coming off a victory. Titans didn't. No, Titans are also coming off a victory. That's interesting. Which victory? Give me the Colts.
Okay.
Give me the Colts too.
I'm going with the Titans. Because every game they've won this year, they've been home. They're home this weekend. They're 4-1 at home. They suck on the road, but for some reason they play well in their home crowd. I'm going with them. All right, next up, Chargers, Patriots.
Ew.
Chargers.
I would love the Patriots to win that game, but they're not because of the tank Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers too.
Armin says it's Roberta Sally.
That's right, Roberta. All right, Lions, Saints.
Saints are pissed off, coming off a loss. So are the Lions. This is going to be. I'll tell you, this is going to be a good game for both teams. They're both playing in the dome. The Saints have a really good defense, but their offense has floundered a little bit, especially with Derek Carr's performance in the last week.
Give me the Lions. It's a dome.
Lions.
I'll go with the Lions too. There's no way I'm picking the Saints. All right, Garbo game, Falcons, Jets.
Let's go Falcons.
All right. I will purposely pick the Jets and ruin my record just so they will lose. You think I'm kidding too, but
please, John, please be right. Please be right when you're hoping for the Jets to lose.
I am. That's why I'm picking them. See?
Usually I would do a lot of different things here.
Oh, don't what are you, a politician? You're gonna walk around the answer?
not a joke either. I'm taking the Jets this week.
So
God help me, Alex.
Wait, is it Heineke or Ritter?
Ritter.
Ritter.
Heineke, I don't think is back from
Yep.
injury.
Give me the New York Jets.
Against Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle against Desmond Ritter. All right, next up, Cardinals Steelers.
Steelers gone to Super Bowl.
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
the Steelers.
Yeah, give me the
I would love the
Steelers.
I would love the Cardinals to win, but
Yeah, I have no faith in the Cardinals after they. I picked them last week, and they.
Scott says Joe Judge for Patriots head coach next season. That's not. I think he could get another job in this league, but I think he could definitely be the Patriots successor.
All right, Alex cares about this game. Dolphins Commies.
Yeah, the Dolphins are winning this game.
Dolphins.
I'll go in a clean sweep. The Dolphins beat up on teams that are really bad. Broncos Texans.
Oof, I like this game. I think there's a chance that CJ Stroud comes back for revenge, and I think that's going to be the case. I think I'm taking the Texans here.
I will also take the Texans. I don't think the Texans are losing 2 in a row. They're a little pissed off. They didn't play so well yesterday.
Texans.
And they just cut Matt Amendola, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, they did. All right. The Panthers versus Brian's Bucks.
I'm going Bucks.
Please be the Panthers, but it's going to be the Bucks.
I keep choosing the Bucks and they lose, but there's no way they lose to the damn Panthers. I'm sorry. I know they just fired their coach. Maybe they're a little hyped now, but there's no way. There is no way. All right. Browns Rams.
Ooh,
Rams.
I'm taking the Rams. They just
I was looking at upsets. I think the Rams can upset them. I think they're going to as well. So we're all going with Rams as a clean sweep because we don't believe in this Browns offense anymore. Okay. All right. Here's clearly the best game of the week, and I'm being serious. 49ers, Eagles.
Eagles are coming off hell of a victory. The Niners are coming off a Thanksgiving victory in Seattle.
Give me a Niners upset.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, Barbara. I'm just going to read this comment real quick. Drew says, I bet the Giants don't lose this weekend. I just wanted to be able to say that for once. Well, they're playing the bye week, so Colts aren't playing. No, they're not. They're playing pretty good football.
I'm gonna go Niners because I think they'll be able to their very game manager offense is gonna expose that Philly defense, and Philly had to claw back and win this week.
I'm still picking the Eagles. I know I don't like. I told Brad I will not be picking a lot against the 49ers this year. The Eagles are still getting outgained, and they just find ways to win football games. They're going to continue that. They're home again. Give me the Eagles. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Packers.
Chiefs.
I mean, is that really a fucking debate?
No, that's not. I think
I have a funny feeling the Chiefs will try to make that competitive, or I should say Green Bay, because their defense is really good, and the Chiefs have struggled at times.
Drew says if anyone could beat the Eagles and the refs, it's the Niners.
That's true. I mean, they can. I'm not saying the Niners can. I just think the Eagles get them again. Bengals, Jaguars. Monday Night Football.
Jaguars. If it was the Bengals with Joe Burrow, I would say the Bengals, but Jaguars.
Unfortunately, there's no more Joey B because of the injury, so this game isn't even going to be competitive, in my opinion, and they will get cooked. But the only games that we have different pick, the Titans, Colts. I have the Titans. You have the Colts. I'll announce all the records after this game on Thursday Night Football. Luca's got the Falcons. Me and Alex got the Jets, but I really do have the Falcons. I hope the Falcons win. And then other than that, you guys have the Niners winning. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think they're the best team in football right now.
Niners will have a QB this time.
That's
We're
true.
doing the Monday night show next Monday.
That's true. I still think the Eagles have probably a dominant offensive line that can just tear up anyone. And with Giants wildcard, LOL with Tommy D. That's not how you spell my last name, but
good try.
A for effort.
A for effort, but it's a very creative try by Mr. Is right there.
But
Scott agrees with me and says the
Philly, the Niners will lose. Going with my gut on that one. But what was like, because I don't remember who was in the lead. Well, how did we do this week? How about that? Or are you not going to count the records to Thursday?
I'll do it Thursday because I haven't counted it yet. But
who was leading coming into this week then?
It was
Alex.
you, Luca, and then me.
Yeah, do the.
Look, I'm taking my record here. Okay, I'm picking the Jets.
Mac Jones had over 300 yards on the Eagles. How many does Purdy get?
No, that's true. I mean, their secondary is very suspect, but the Eagles have a star quarterback, Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown's a star receiver. They have a way better offensive line. Their offensive line is, other than the Lions, there's really no better offensive line in the NFL. And their front seven's monsterful too. So good luck with that.
Sorry about that. I meant the following Monday night. You mean for Giants Packers? We're probably going to stream that. And if not, we'll let you guys know, but probably going to stream that.
I think we are.
All intended purposes, of course, to watch what could be another tank bowl, but So any final football thoughts?
No, we got picks. Yeah.
All right. Luca, if you want to take it away for the final segment of the night.
Yeah, so we're actually going to dig into some Knicks. John is 100%. He's all well, and he's doing a dance. But getting into the Knicks, obviously they dropped the heartbreaker yesterday from a Devin Booker 3-point shot. Honestly, that game shouldn't have came down to the wire like that. They had a really slow start. Well, I think we'll get into the Heat game, and then we'll get into the Phoenix game. Almighty already saying Randall got to go. Trust me, besides the third quarter, I've not been impressed with his play recently. And I'll just mention my first thoughts and say Randall, his effort is questionable at times, and somehow he's allowed to get away with that. And somebody on Twitter who I follow all the time, and he says a lot of good things. He's like, with Randall's up and downness when it comes to effort and that kind of temperament, it's not sustainable for any type of winning culture. So, John, if you want to offer your first thoughts on the last two games.
One game was I feel kind of bad because I don't think, I had to go back and rewatch that. I watched the whole game yesterday. It kind of we saw the reaction of me leading into the call-in show yesterday. And then I had to rewatch Friday's highlights because I was a little busy over the weekend. But I wasn't really happy with either game, if I'm being completely honest.
Third quarter was reckless from the Knicks because obviously it was a back and forth game. Quentin Grimes hits the 3 to end the half in the second quarter. You have third quarter, the Miami starts going on a run, and this is what irked me. Let me say this: Julius Randle did turn over the ball 6 times in the first half, but Tom Thibodeau's stubbornness is like, I'll put it to you this way. His stubbornness, luckily, did not, how do I put this? The win masked his stubbornness because this is true. I marked this down in my notes. The Heat went on a 19-0 run in the third quarter. Tibbs called 2 timeouts, right? No lineup adjustments.
None.
After those 2 timeouts. Please stop. Why? I'm being objective here, aren't I? But anyways, so I'm going to give you the possessions before the first timeout of his.
Go ahead.
Brunson missed a 21-foot shot. Then Bam Adebayo made a 2-foot shot, basically fading away from the basket. 52-51 Miami. RJ Barrett turns over the ball on a bad pass. Quentin Grimes would get a shooting foul on Haywood Highsmith. He makes the 2 free throws. It's 54-51 Miami. Jalen Brunson would have a bad pass, leading to Kyle Lowry having a transition 3-pointer. Tibbs calls timeout. It's 57-51 Miami at this point, 6-point deficit. So after the first timeout, no substitutions yet. RJ Barrett missed a pull-up mid-range, nice little ball movement, but Barrett misses the pull-up in and out. This would lead to a Jimmy Butler transition 3, 60-51 Miami. Quentin Grimes, who's been struggling, we're going to talk about him a little bit. He missed a corner 3, an open one. Highsmith would miss a 3 in transition as well. Lowry would grab the loose ball off the rebound, but Jimmy Butler would turn over the ball with a pass out of bounds. Randall then missed a heavily contested out-of-bounds mid-range jumper. Quentin Grimes would knack his second shooting foul of the quarter on Jimmy Butler. Butler would knock down the 2 free throws, 62-51 Miami. Randall missed a three-pointer along the wing, and then Haywood Highsmith off of 3, I would say, poor defensive rotations, hit a 3, 65-51. Jalen Brunson would turn over the ball again, leading to a Kyle Lowry layup, 67-51, a 16-point game at that point, and Tom Thibodeau called a timeout, but no substitutions. So
hold up. During that night, how long? And this is why, because I see Almighty's comment saying he's telling you to stop blaming Tibbs, and this is where I'm going to agree with Luca. How long was that total 19-0 run? Like how long did it last?
How many minutes into the quarter?
Yeah, how many minutes?
Let's do the math. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at the box score right now because I was rewatching the game earlier. I was watching the beginning of the game. I didn't really watch the end of the game because I caught all of that, but I wanted to catch what the third quarter was like and opened up. So the run. Let me just see if I can pull this up. Let me see because I was looking at Daily Knicks as well. This also helped me out. The 19-0 run lasted. Let's see how many minutes because I got to go back into play-by-play. 12 minutes. Here we go. 67-51 and 19-0, 69-51. It lasted about 5 minutes, close to 5 minutes.
So, if you can't notice as a coach in 5 minutes that it's just gone to complete utter crap, because that's what it was during that 19-0 run.
Yeah,
it was ugly to see that, or for me to rewatch that. If you can't notice that, that's a problem. Because if you're not subbing guys in, or if you're not, making some sort of in-game adjustment, that's a huge issue, and that could probably cost us later on in the season. I don't know when or how, but it damn well can. I mean, how many times am I going to see Randall make stupid decisions with basketball? How many times am I going to see Quentin Grimes miss an open 3? It's like just.
It's the inability to adapt.
No, he can't sometimes, and it's starting to get frustrating at times.
Yeah, as you mentioned with the Randall stuff, he had 6 turnovers. He's a very high. And somebody argued a point. I'm going to pull up this tweet. I'm not going to use it right now, but I will use it in our upcoming discussion. Let me pull up the tweet. Who was it from? It was from this person. But Ian Begley had a panel, but that the person on the panel didn't have a very strong point, and they made a very inaccurate point, and I don't know why they said that. But anyways, going back to it, we're gonna watch a defensive possession here. But I want to get some comments. Trade Randall for Jaren Jackson Jr. I'll tell you this much: I would not be against that. Jaren Jackson Jr.'s had a slow start to the season. I doubt the Grizzlies would trade for him, but he doesn't need high usage. He's a very good defensive player. He would be a very good fit along with Mitch. He could space the floor. But I think in order to replace Randall's usage, you would have to throw in like an Emmanuel Quickly into the starting lineup because he takes up that usage where Quentin Grimes is basically a non-factor on offense now. You don't want that when you have Jaren Jackson, who's much lower with the usage rate. So I'm going to look that up right now, actually. Thank you to, I think it was, let me see. It was Almighty who brought that up. I'm going to look up the Grizzlies usage rate and see where he ranks in terms of that. NBA usage rate. Before we get into this.
I imagine he's pretty high on their team because
Because John's out.
Right, yeah.
Teams, let's go. Let's see, general. Hold on, let me refresh the page. Usage. Okay, players. Let's go with the team, and that'll be the Memphis Grizzlies. Right. Memphis. Oh, I'll pull this up. Memphis Grizzlies player usage. All right, so the team leader in usage, I'm going to pull it up right now. Here we go. Is actually Desmond Bane. Jaren Jackson's not far behind him, but Desmond Bane is the main option for scoring.
Okay.
Bane this year is shooting about 34% from 3, 34% from 3. Field goals made. He's actually shooting 30%. Wow, geez, they're a really bad shooting team. But anyways, Jaren Jackson's second most usage. I think that would be like third or fourth if John Morant was back. But Jaron Jackson's not a bad option, in my opinion. I think, again, if you bring in Jaron Jackson, this is not a realistic scenario. You would have to throw quickly into the starting lineup, or maybe a Dante DiVincenzo, personally. But we're just going to watch a bad rotation here from in the third quarter. Right here, we have Highsmith. We have Jimmy Butler along the wing. We have Kyle Lowry. I believe this is Josh Richardson. They're doubling Bam Adebayo in the mid-range here. So hold on. Give me 1 second. I got to reload it. I have no idea why it's not loading. Technical difficulties, folks.
Time for Jeopardy music.
All right, I'll pull it up again, but I'll bring up a clip from the.
Adebayo up top.
All right, Alex, can you mute the screen for us? Awesome, thank you. So Bam Adebayo has it. They're doubling him for some reason. I didn't really get why. I think he had a good start to the game.
Yeah, he did.
Double him. They help off of Josh Richardson. Richardson is a very so shooter. So the rotation is here. Richardson has the ball, but you see Jimmy Butler is going to take up the space with Jalen Brunson. This is going to cause an issue with the defense. You have Randall on Lowry, but RJ is going to try to rush back from almost that corner to try to contest Haywood Highsmith. He gets the open three here. Watch that again. Adebayo double teamed. Richardson is open. He could very well take the three, but Grimes rushes over for the help. Lowry gets the ball, but you see you have not one but two players rushing over to Highsmith's corner three. And Highsmith, for the record, I'm just going to pull this up per Basketball Reference. Highsmith is one of those. He's actually one of the Miami undrafted, very little known players who they've developed really well. Highsmith is a 34% shooter, so from three, so he's not terrible. But I see Almighty has a comment. You got to show the clip of when Randall was in Brunson's way, when Brunson was dribbling to the paint. If I could, I actually have a basketball site that's called the High Low Up. If I could find it, possibly, like you got, if you want to give me like a timestamp, if you try to remember, I can help you with that, and I can pull up the clip. But Randall is very much like that. So let me see if I can pull up another Heat clip. Let's see. Here we go. Passing ball movement, possession B versus the Heat. Let's see. But I also like to, here's a Quentin Grimes missed opportunity. And we're going to go back into this. This is when we talk about Quentin Grimes' confidence. Grimes has disappointed me this year. He really has. I thought he would take that next step up. I'm not saying he has to average 17 points a game, but 12 to 14 would be a good thing. Now, the question is, this is relating to the game as well. Do you think it's low usage and low touches, or do you think it's a confidence issue? Because to me, this also seems like a confidence issue. You're going to watch his action. But, John, I want you to answer the question first.
So repeat what you were saying again. I'm sorry. Repeat your question.
All right. Do you think Quentin Grimes' struggles have come from low confidence, bad shooting, or low usage?
Personally, I think it's a combo of both.
Okay. We're going to see what happens.
They do not scheme him open on off-ball cuts. And when he does get his open touches, right, it usually is from three. And he's simply not like a knockdown shooter. Or right. They try to turn him into one, but it's not his game. And that's why he's been pretty bad offensively.
I think he could have very well, if they involve him, because I think he could somewhat have a similar impact like Dante DiVincenzo, but Grimes is not really the deflections guy that Dante DiVincenzo is. The analytics guys love Dante DiVincenzo because of his deflections, steals. He puts up those gritty little numbers. Mm-hmm. But Grimes, you'll see here, he misses an open chance where he could have drove to the basket, collapsed the defense on him, and left open RJ for a corner three. But instead, he makes a different decision. But Grimes has also been not a consistent shooter this season. I'm going to pull up his numbers thus far. So Quentin Grimes this season, he's shooting 37% from the field, 36% from downtown. Most of his, we're going to pull up his shot diet as well. Let's see, shooting. Here we go. From 83% of his field goals, or at least field goals attempted, have been from 3-point land. Last year, it was 67.6%. So he's been basically the corner guy, the wing guy to shoot threes. Last year, his 2-point percentage was about 32.4%, as in terms of how many percent of field goals were in 2-point land. Now, this year's numbers are drastically different. 16.7% of his shots are twos. From 0 to 3 range, Grimes is shooting 11% of his shots are within 0 to 3 feet. And between 0 to 3 feet, he's shooting 50%, which is well below average for a guy who can get to the rim and has the explosive first step. 3 to 10 feet, Grimes doesn't really have an in-between game, which is a problem for him. He shoots 2.2% of his field goals from 3 to 10 feet, and he shoots about 1,000 from there. So I guess he's had in very limited numbers success from there. But at the end of the day, there's the 3-point percentage is too much for me. He's not a guy like a Reggie Bullock who just stands behind the line and can shoot threes. He's a guy who could do a little bit, I'm not going to say a little bit of creation, but he can drive to the rim. He has that explosive first step. He can be used on off-ball cuts, as you were saying, John. So at the end of the day, I think it's low usage, but I also think it's a confidence issue. We're going to watch it right now. We are overrating Grimes. I liked Grimes coming into the season, but he just hasn't played well. So let's watch the play. This is going to be excuse me. We have to bring it back in. No music, please. I don't know why it's not coming in on the first. All right. Let's see. Now we're moving. Good. All right. So we're going to have Julius Randle. This is a turnover by the Knicks. Watch Grimes. He's going to be running in transition. You notice Grimes has the open lane. If he drives into the lane, he allows Lowry to collapse into him. Now, Bam Adebayo is a little step short, so maybe either he could dump it off to Robinson in the paint or kick out to RJ, who's wide open in the corner. Instead, Grimes does this. That's a problem for me. Watch that again in transition. Randle feeds to Grimes. Grimes could cut right to the basket and collapse the defense and force the mismatch, but he instead gives it to Randle. I would like him to be a little more assertive, but again,
that shows to me he's playing scary. Like, you need to attack the basket there, and he's scared to go up at the rim. How many times do you honestly see him drive anyway?
It's been, again, it's like we equate it to the field goal percentages by distance. It's been lower this year, and there were times.
I'm not even talking about when he shoots. I'm saying how many times do you even see him attack the basket?
It's more. You rarely see him attack his defender and go to the basket. It's rare.
Right.
And I truthfully want to see him do that. He offers a quick first step. I think he has a little bit of creativity going to the basket and driving up for those layups. But there's some layups he's blown this year. But I don't know, man. I'm worried about Grimes. And that obviously presents the next issue, in which is, do you put Dante DiVincenzo in the starting lineup? John, what do you say at this point? It's been a couple of games. You've had the sample size. I know Dante started for a little bit while Grimes was out, and we got a good glimpse of him because, again, Dante offers the off-ball cuts, a little more confident shooting, and the deflections defensively.
I think you try it just for a little to see if it's better, because your only other option is Josh Hart.
Right.
And I think he's been worse than Grimes.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some numbers here. This is per our buddies at PBB Stats. We're actually going to share the screen here because I like these numbers. Those are very neat numbers. PBB, here we go. This is a very fun tool to use. I haven't used this before, but I see people use it all the time. So I just threw two teammates together, Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson. When Jalen Brunson's on the floor and Dante is off, 113.66 offensive rating. When both are on the floor, their offensive rating is 121.32. The defense isn't as good, but the offense is very good. Obviously, the best out of any of the offensive ratings listed, 121.32. Net rating, 1.25 minutes. There's been about 159 of them. 3-point percentage, 40%. Highest out of any of these two. 2-point percentage, 47%. Not bad. Obviously, Brunson's been a phenomenal 3-point shooter this year. Defense, again, will suffer a little bit, because DiVincenzo's defensive rating has been a little bit higher than usual, and Jalen Brunson isn't that great of a defender, as we all know. He's probably average to below average, but he takes those charges. So you obviously have the numbers here, which tell you DiVincenzo's a good fit with his buddy Jalen Brunson. Now, let me throw in, which starter should I throw DiVincenzo with in? RJ Barrett or Julius Randle?
I would say Barrett.
Okay.
To see.
All right. So we're going to take out Jalen Brunson. We're going to move in RJ Barrett. With both of them on the floor, the offensive rating is 124.58. The defensive rating is phenomenal, 107.59. The net rating is 16.98. So there's 16 near 17 points better with both of them on the floor as opposed to off the floor. With both off the floor, the offensive rating is subpar, 107.67. And the defensive rating is good, but it's not good enough where it could overcome the offense. The three-point shooting suffers. Opposing two-point percentage suffers a little bit. RJ Barrett, again, you look at the three-point percentage with both on the floor, 43.9%, which is phenomenal. So you have that defensive rating, offensive rating, opposing three-point percentage, 35%, phenomenal. Again, the Knicks have defended the three ball very well this year, but that's with both the starters, or one that should be a starter and one that is a starter. So let's throw in Julius Randle to our tool. Randle and DiVincenzo, 117.76 with the offensive rating. The defensive rating is 115.94. Now, the defense obviously takes a bit of a hit because Julius Randle is very temperamental with the defensive side of the ball. Opposing, let's go with this, 1.82 net rating. DiVincenzo is, I'd say Randle's better on with DiVincenzo off as opposed to them having it better. But the defense is better with Randle and DiVincenzo off. Offense is a little bit better, but the offense is definitely better when both of them on the floor or both on the floor. DiVincenzo obviously has a higher individual rating with Randle off the floor. So you have that. 3-point percentage with both of them on the floor, 40%. 2-point for field goal percentage around 48%. So pretty decent numbers all around. Now, I don't think DiVincenzo's had a lot of time with Mitchell Robinson, but we're going to throw in that tool anyway. Mitchell Robinson. Here we go. And then we'll get our numbers. Mitchell and DiVincenzo, defensive rating at around 117.79, but in 126 minutes, 127 offensive rating, a net rating of about 9.45. Mitchell Robinson with DiVincenzo off, 113 offensive rating, 111 defensive rating. DiVincenzo, a little bit of a negative net rating without Mitchell Robinson on the floor, but when they're both on the floor, 3-point percentage, 44%. Mitchell obviously doesn't shoot threes. Opposing 3-point percentage is around 41%, and the opposing 2-point field goal percentage is around 56%. So very good numbers overall. John, you want me to plug in some other numbers, like maybe throw in a Josh Hart? We'll talk about him a little bit.
He's been dreadful to watch at times. To me, he's been worse than Grimes.
He has been. And it's also a confidence issue with him because, let's look at this. Hart's not a great shooter. We knew that. But he's supposed to be this, collective jack of all trades, master of none. But even I screamed at the TV, I think it was on Friday night. I'm like, he had an open three and he passed it up to Julius Randle. And I'm like, shoot. But this season, give you the raw numbers, 28% from three, Josh Hart is shooting, 42% from the field. He's still averaging around 7 points per game. His net rating last game against the Suns was 1, then it was 5 for the Miami Heat game. But in the Minnesota game when they lost, his net rating was -5. And he was 2 for 6, 33% from the field, nothing from downtown. But is it me, John, or his release seems very slow coming out of his hands when he's shooting?
I don't know if it's more of a confidence thing as opposed to Grimes, but I just never think it's weird because he was a fantastic player for us last year.
Yeah.
But now it's just like you put him in a half-court offense, and this dude not only looks like his shooting mechanics are slow, but he just like his IQ offensively is really bad. Like it's on Julius Randle level bad sometimes. Like I see him make boneheaded plays, and I'm like, what is he doing out there? So I don't know if it's more so of mechanics. I don't know if it's more so of brain processing, but I don't like him in our half-court offense. I like him for other things. I just don't like him for that.
So we're going to pull up the numbers here, raw numbers. Once again, we're going to go with Josh Hart. So with him on the court, the Knicks have an offensive rating of 104.61. Their defensive rating is about 110.20. It's not much different with actually him off the court, 114.17 with offensive rating, only a difference by this much. Defensive rating is a little bit worse off with Josh Hart off the court. The three-point percentage is better, as you can see, with him off the court. The two-point percentage is better with him off the court. The opposing three-point percentage is actually better with him off the court. And the opposing 2 percentage is actually a little worse off with him off the court. But let's see. What player can we add to this tool that plays with Josh Hart a lot? Do we want to throw in Emmanuel quickly?
Yeah, we haven't used him.
All right, Emmanuel quickly. All right. With both of them on the floor, the offensive rating is about 117.52, defensive rating 109.6, net rating is about 7.92. Three-point percentage around 35%. I'd say that's around league average. Opposing three-point defense is really good, 35.68 allowed three-point percentage, 54% on the twos. Net rating, as I said, 7.92 in 306 minutes. Both players come off the bench. So with quickly on the floor and Hart off the floor, the Knicks are actually worse defensively. 123.12 defensive rating. The opposing three-pointer percentage is really high at 42.25%. The three-point percentage is actually at 34.7%. Again, it also depends. It's not just quickly himself. It depends on who is on the court with him. So the net rating is negative. But at the end of the day, Josh Hart is a better positive when Emmanuel quickly is on the floor with him. Again, the non-shooting aspect of Josh Hart is masked when you have guys like Emmanuel quickly and Dante DiVincenzo on the floor. Let's throw in Dante DiVincenzo because he comes off the bench. Okay, now we have a little more complex equation. Quickly, Hart and Devo, offensive rating about 117, defense about 112 for a net rating of near 5. Three-point percentage around 38%. That's really good. Defensive allowed three-point percentage, really good, 37%. Two-point percentage, 49%. So now we'll go to Emmanuel quickly and Donnie DiVincenzo with Josh Hart off the floor. Gets worse defensively, a net rating of negative 19.13. 111.71, 130.84 defensively. The three-point percentage is fair at around 37%, but the allowed field goal percentage from three is 52. Now, again, I will say that's not those two individually. That's not an impact on them, but it's also an impact depending on other players as well who are on the court with them. So you obviously have that. Now, Josh Hart and Emmanuel quickly, again, we went over this 117 offensive rating, 103 defensively. With Devo and quickly, let's see if we could have that. I think there. Yep, quickly and Devo, I already mentioned that. Josh Hart and Devo, 118.84 offensively. Obviously, that goes into the factor of the impact that Dante DiVincenzo has on the bench offense. Quickly's off the court defensively, 110.14. That's more to Hart's defense, in my opinion. So you have all these numbers, but I think at the end of the day, the Knicks' need for a backup power forward couldn't be more apparent, in my opinion. And I know, I think it was Almighty who brought up the rumor about trading a first-round pick for Bojan Bogdanovic. And some people are actually saying no to
Where
that.
do I sign?
People are actually saying no to that, John.
What? Why?
Because of injuries. They're like, oh, why? What? And I was reading this on Twitter, and I'm like, Bojan Bogdanovic is a good shooter. He's obviously hurt right now.
We have a few first-round picks coming up, so we can afford to give one.
Yeah, you trade. I think we have a Detroit protected pick. You give him back.
We do.
And Bojan, if I'm not mistaken, is on the final year of his contract. I'm going to look that up for you. But people are saying, injuries, why trade for him? Where's the minutes coming from? We already have minutes struggling with, the 9-man rotation. And, I get it. He'll be a free. Next year, his contract will be about $19 million. partially guaranteed, and then he's a free agent afterwards. But at the end of the day, like, I get it. We do have, we do have, complaints sometimes when it comes to Thibodeau's minutes, whether he offers too many to Josh Hart, Julius Randle, all these different things, right? And when he actually, does the minutes, we all talk about that. Does he give too many minutes to player? Like, one thing Tibbs doesn't do well is, like, he sometimes does this well, he sometimes doesn't, is playing a player on a hot run. RJ started off the game, I think it was really hot either against Phoenix or against Miami, and he was the first guy he was the first starter off the court, which I didn't understand. You also had Donnie DiVincenzo. He went on a hot run. I think it was against Miami, and he got taken off the court. So again, it's like sometimes I believe Tibbs is managing with a card in his hand instead of actually adjusting to the game and to what he's seeing in front of him. But I see Almighty is not a fan of Bogdanovich. I don't want him. He's 34. No way you actually want Bogdanovich.
Yes, way I want Bogdanovich.
We needed a stretch four. We needed a backup stretch four. And I said that in the entire offseason. John was with me. Torrey Craig, Jay Crowder, Grant Williams, I wouldn't have mind giving a backup.
He's your second player off the bench if you do that.
Exactly. Boy, I'm not trading a 2020.
Well, if you're giving up Fournier, you have to get out of it and trade a first.
Let me see the Knicks. We'll go back to our old trade machine. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go back to the trade machine.
You have to if you get out of that contract, they're not going to just take it on. You have to give up something.
Let's see. Pistons 2-14, and obviously the Knicks at number 5. But anyways, we are here. So let's throw in Evan Fournier, $18 million over the next 2 years. We're going to throw in Bogdanovich, $20 million over the next 2 years. And we're going to throw in the pick. All right, so I talked about Detroit. They're protected 1 through 18. We're giving Detroit's pick back, essentially. So would you do that, John?
Do the 2024
Detroit?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, no protections. We're not getting anything back except Bogdanovich. Let's see if this works.
Wait, Almighty, you want Marvin Bagley over Bogdanovich? What?
Oh, no.
What are you smoking, my friend? I love you to death, but damn, that's a horrible idea.
So Bogdanovich would be a +1 win for the Knicks, while +1 minus for Fournier. Maybe we give up like an extra second to get Fournier off the books. Their contracts are pretty equal, but at the end of the day, this is a trade that I think should work for the Knicks. Bogdanovich is scoring. I get it. He's a little bit negatively on the defensive side, and Tibbs is going to be against that. But at some point, you can never have enough shooting. To me, Bagley's not that. Let's look at Bagley's numbers, shall we?
Marvin Bagley is not that nice, man. He's a good bench player at best, but he's not that nice.
So looking at the raw numbers, Bagley is averaging 10.9 points per game. He started about 6.
He's terrible defensively.
Yeah, I think he's more of a 5 personally. He's actually played most of his minutes as a 5. So where would those minutes come from? He would be.
And he's undersized too as a 5. He's not even a 7-footer.
He is 6'10". 6'10". But anyways, going back to it, 10 points per game, around 11 off the bench. That's not bad. 58%, near 59% from the field. He doesn't. I'll tell you this: when Almighty just brought Bagley, I would think of Bagley as more of a space shooter. At least he transitions out his career. He's taking a less than a 3 a game at 20% from downtown. So, what would he actually add? Like, we get it. Hartenstein is more of scoring in the paint. Quickly scores from outside. DiVincenzo scores from outside. How do you properly mask the problem of getting, or how do you properly mask the problem of Josh Hart not shooting well? You get a stretch 4, and that is Bojan Bogdanovich. I get it. He's 34 years old. You don't exactly have a long-term commitment to him. You're not signing him to this albatross contract. He's here for 2 years, and that's it. And I get it. He doesn't play defense. But you know what? Let's absolve the defense and add a little more offensively. As I said, you cannot have enough shooting. You can't. And the Knicks have do I have to look at the Knicks numbers shooting wise this season? I mean, again, phenomenal defensively, but they lack offensively. Let's look at the shooting numbers. And in terms of field goal percentage, they rank 28th. They shoot 44% from the field. They're actually third in three-point percentage. It's gotten better, but you can definitely make it better. And Bogdanovich is not only a scorer, he could score from all three levels. He could drive to the paint. He can pull up from mid-range. He can shoot from three. He's a three-level scorer, in my opinion. And let's pull up, how about this? We'll also throw this in. Marvin Bagley. We'll look at the same tool that I was looking at. Bagley. Now, let me say this for the record. The Pistons are a terrible team. They're 2-14, if I'm not mistaken.
They're awful, yeah.
With Bagley on the court, their offensive rating is 117. That's really good. But their defensive rating suffers, 119.35. That's a negative net rating of negative 2.16. Their three-point percentage is better somehow, even though Bagley is not taking a lot of shots. And we'll look at the shot diet, too, aside from the attempts.
He's not a shooter either.
No. I thought he would have been, but he's not. Let's look at it. Let's look at the shot from distance. Let's look at this. Less than 5% of his shots have come from three-point land this year. 4.3. Between 0 and 3 feet, around 49%. 33% of his shots have come from 3 to 10 feet. And it gets lesser and lesser and lesser as he goes farther back from the basket. He's just not what we need. He's a scorer off the bench. We get that, but we need three-point shooting.
Yeah.
And Bogdanovich is definitely that guy.
Easily.
And Bogdanovich can take minutes off of Randall. He could take minutes off of Randall. He's had that minute load before.
It's not. I don't even think this should be a discussion. Bagley or Bogdanovich.
Last year, I'm going to pull this up right now. He played approximately, here are the totals. Minutes per game. This is Bagley, my mistake. Let me pull up Bojan Bogdanovich. Played a lot of games. Last year, shot really well from three. So, let's see. 48% from the field, 41% from downtown. He averaged 32.1 minutes a game. You tell me he can't average 26, 25 off the bench? Cut in half. I know they're not going to cut in half Randall's minutes. That would be like a fucking miracle. Randall currently, as we see it, Julius Randle averages about 34 minutes a game. Now, I'll tell you this. I've seen some matchups. We saw them play the Celtics, and Jason Tatum took Josh Hart to school. That's why sometimes the small ball forward does not work. Bogdanovich, again, defensively is a bit of a liability, so I can understand the defensive concerns, but we need more offensive shooting. My opinion. And if there is a defensive stretch four out there that we could sign, like a JaMychal Green, I wouldn't mind it. But I think we're past free agency at this point, and I think we're going to look for trades. But I would definitely sign up for a Bogdanovich trade. That's my personal opinion. Almighty, I'm actually not going to disagree with that. We're pretty wing heavy right now. Grimes is not playing well. Quickly's playing well, but I think we have very smaller wings. You look at yesterday's matchup against the Phoenix Suns. Look at their wings. Let me pull up their roster, and I'll give you the heights and sizes.
Koji,
Keita Bates, Diop.
Yeah.
Let me see. Suns. 11-6. Okay. Here's their roster. Okogie, 6'4". Saving Lee, no. Little, 6'5". Watanabe, 6'9". Bates Diop, 6'8". So they have their small guards in Gordon and Allen and Jordan Goodwin, but they also have their big long wings like Yuta Watanabe. Okogie is a little buff. They also, as we mentioned, have Nasir Little. So the Knicks, I definitely agree with you. I think they do need a taller wing, but I think, again, it needs to be a shooting wing. And who are you trading off for that to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in for Brandon Ingram. I like Ingram personally.
I like him a lot too. I would agree on that. You'd have to give a bigger package, but I definitely like Brandon Ingram. He's a star.
Yeah, definitely. He's a star player. Ingram is shooting about 24%. No, I'm sorry, not 24%. Excuse me. 24%. No, 24 points per game. That's, I believe, is a career high for him. He's not shooting well from three. He's taking a decent amount of attempts. He's not shooting well from three, but he has the shot creation that you want. And I'm going to look at his PBB stats defensively and offensively. Brandon Ingram, we're going to pull this up. New Orleans. All right, Brandon Ingram. Ingram and the Pelicans are 113 offensive rating, 114 defensive rating. He's a little bit of a liability there. The opposing three-point percentage is actually better with him off the floor, and its 2% is off the floor. But I think if you have better defenders around him, like if you throw a no, actually that wouldn't work. Let's see if Ingram, let me look at his size real quick, because maybe he plays power forward. Maybe he's like that smaller 4. He's 6'8". Can he play that power forward position?
I like more as a 3, but
that's fair. Grimes, Ihart, and 2 firsts for Ingram.
I would do that.
I would too. I like Hartenstein, but I wouldn't mind Ingram. Ingram is a 3. Yeah, he is a 3. I know he played. I'm guessing he played a little. He's a small and a power forward. He's more again forward. But yeah, I understand your Ingram. I liked Ingram when he got traded to the Pelicans. He became a star from there. So he descended to a very nice fruit. But anyways, let me see if we could show some more Miami footage. Obviously, they had a phenomenal comeback victory. Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett leading the way with some very clutch shots. Emmanuel Quickly down the stretch. He also had 20 points. Quickly's been phenomenal this year. We don't even have to talk about that. But one thing I would like to see a little more often from the Knicks is Randall Robinson PNR. Instead of this little ISO bullshit that they pull, Randall Robinson PNR. I don't know like the effectiveness or the efficiency stats, but I like to see this ran a little more often than rather than Randall backing down a defender and trying to force a double team where he could kick out to those guys. But let's watch this action here. Knicks are up 3-1. Randall brings it into half court. He's defended by Highsmith. Robinson's going to come with a screen to the right, pick and roll. Adebayo is now forced onto Julius Randle, which Robinson has the size. He's also right in front of Highsmith, or at least behind him. And he goes in for the alley-oop. Going to watch that again, obviously. Bring it up. Randall, quick PNR real quick. Robinson rolling to the basket, wide open with nice job by Julius Amish forcing the mismatch there. So I'm going to pull up another little pick and roll here. I have another pick and roll with Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. I remember people touting this on Twitter, and I thought, not such a bad idea rather than have Randall coming out of the post. But let's see. All right, here's the second version of their PNR. All right, lower that. All right, Randall in the half court once again. Same matchup, same defenders. Adebayo covering the roll man. Robinson comes with the screen to the left. Robinson rolling to the basket. Randall to Barrett. Obviously, that Jimmy Butler anticipates the pass, but he overcommits to the ball, goes for the steal. Barrett goes right to the rack. And also forces a mismatch on other players. So not a bad job out of the PNR. Once again, Randall, Robinson rolling to the basket with the mismatch. As Butler, it looks like Butler's going to go in for the help defense, but he's also trying to anticipate the pass. So you'll see that. Nice pass by Julius Randle as Butler anticipates it, but he overcommits. Barrett drives to the basket. Highsmith knows he can't guard it because if he guards Barrett, he's going to dump off to Robinson for the easy feed. So I like to see this ran a bit more often. I want to see if there's some pick and roll stats. I'm going to look that up real quick. Let's see. Players, pick and roll ball handler. Perfect. Let's see. Okay. Regular season, we got that. Play type. So Jalen Brunson's, I'm going to look up Jalen Brunson right now. His efficiency in the P and R, points per possession is about 0.93. We're going to look at that. So he ranks a little farther down the list, but Emmanuel Quickly is actually really good in the PNR as well. 1.28 in the pick and roll, points per possession exactly. But again, I would like to see Randall and Robinson run that set a lot more. It also helps. And another set I want the Knicks to run. Yes, Almighty, we'll be calling the game tomorrow. Happily. Especially off a week off break.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, another set I've seen, and I told you about this in the pre-show, John, is I told you about the Get set that was actually developed by Mike D'Antoni, and the Knicks have ran this before, but they don't run it as often as the rest of the league. And I think the Knicks need to go back to this action. It's called the get action. It's called the give and go action. So it's simple. You start off this possession with this. You get really, I know it's like, it's essentially a give and go, and you score right at the basket. It's not a lot of ball movement, but it can really fire up the offense. So we're gonna watch a different team do this. This is the Atlanta Hawks. This was a very high scoring game, by the way. Pacers, Hawks. Trae Young in the pick and roll. You have Onyeka Okongwu coming over. He's defended by Isaiah Jackson. McConnell is the defender. Young goes to his left and retreats. You have Okongwu at the top. You're going to see the handoff to Trae Young, but as you see, McConnell falls shortly behind him, and Trae Young gets the easy lay. Watch that again. I like to see the Knicks run this set a little bit more, maybe more so with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett. I know they do this little stupid shit when they begin their possession, where Jalen Brunson brings it up the court, he throws to the corner. RJ Barrett goes up to the top of the key where he throws it to Julius Randle. Randle takes himself one-on-one, or is a fake Mitch P&R. But I like to see this set run more often by the Knicks because it's an unstoppable set by many teams across the league use it. You see Trae Young and Onyeka Okongwu use it. You see Trae Young and Clint Capella use it. You see Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid have success with this. So give and go. You see that McConnell, should I say, tries to chase for the ball, but he falls behind Trae Young. Young gets the open lay because Jackson is trying to defend the pass, yet at the same time, Young outsmarts Jackson and puts up the floater. Young hasn't been the most efficient, but that's obviously one of the more efficient plays across the NBA. Quick comment. We have to win by a lot in order to advance the next round. I mean, personally, just win tomorrow. Just win tomorrow.
I don't care about the season tournament. It has no effect on me.
All right, let's go back. This is actually ran by the Timberwolves with Mike Conley and Karl Anthony Towns. We'll bring it up. This is the give and go action. All right, so we have it's actually a combination of three people, and I like to see this more involved because usually with the Knicks, it's either in a play. It's usually with the Knicks. There's usually two or one person involved in a single set. So you're gonna have Patrick Beverley defending Mike Conley. You have Nick Batum, I believe, that is guarding Karl Anthony Towns. You also have Rudy Gobert at the top. I don't know who that's guarding Rudy Gobert, but you can see Mike Conley go to the left side. But you're gonna see Karl Anthony Towns screen out Patrick Beverley. Now he switched on to Batum. He sees that he does not have the greatest matchup. Conley's a good outside shooter, but you'll wait here. Conley matchup against Batum. Batum has a bigger mass. He's a very good perimeter defender. Now he's going to get a screen from Rudy Gobert. I'm sorry, this is a handoff, actually. Gets a handoff from Gobert. Conley. Gobert, nice screen. And Conley's going to make the wide open three. So I like to see this little three-player action run a little bit to force some mismatches. And I like to see the Knicks actually try to force players to get under screens, make them a threat instead of these stupid little actions that the Knicks decide not to run, or I should say decide to run. Here we go. Towns screens out Patrick Beverley perfectly. If you want, Karl Anthony Towns does have the mismatch on Beverley, but Beverley is a very gritty defender. But Towns did his job screening out Patrick Beverley. Then you're going to see Rudy Gobert handoff, and he forces Nick Batum under the screen to knock down the open three-pointer. So I like to see those Knicks run those sets a little bit more often. But actually, I think I have it here. We're going to see a Joel Embiid set running this. And we're obviously going to dig into a little bit of Joel Embiid here as well, a little later on before we get to the Suns, I should say after the Suns recap. So let's pull it up. All right. So this is on the highlow.com. This is going to be a set with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Let me just mute the tab. I have it muted. Here we go. Maxey brings it up. Hands to Embiid. You're going to have Maxey on a pin down. And Halliburton gets lost in the sauce as DeAnthony Melton knocks down the three. Watch it once again. Little quick action. This gets an offense going. Embiid at the top of the key. Maxey comes for a pin down, not only on Matheron, but Tyrese Halliburton. Melton, open three on the way, knocks it down. So that's a really efficient play that the Knicks can run. I wish they could run it a little more often instead of these little BS handoffs where they go one-on-one in ISO. But again, it's an imaginative offense that Tibbs doesn't have. I'm sorry. But we talked a little bit about the Heat game. They were phenomenal at the end. They came back, but the third quarter was obviously they need to get better from that. But let's get into the Suns game. I wasn't impressed with the Knicks' performance. They shouldn't have made this a game. The Knicks, obviously, I should say the Suns were without Kevin Durant. They got outworked on the offensive glass and in transition. John, any thoughts on the Suns game before I pull up the film?
I thought one of the big takeaways was it's weird. We're such a great rebounding team, but I thought the effort wasn't there, and I thought we just simply got out-rebounded. The only guy in double-digit rebounds was Mitchell Robinson, who I think he had 11 total last night, but the next guy, highest guy was like Brunson, who had 6, which is just not really acceptable because, again, we can't shoot. Okay,
Right.
we are not a good shooting team, so if we're starting to get out-rebounded now, then that's a huge issue, in my opinion, because that hurts us on the second chance points. But, I'm not too worried about rebounding if it's a one-off night. But if it's effort, then you heard what Tibbs said. You heard what Brunson and Randall said after the game.
The energy was low.
Yeah, and, that's a game they should have won. I know the Suns are really good, but they had no Durant, no Beal. So you've taken 2 of their top 3 players away, and we still can't beat them. That's kind of the reasons why I don't believe the Knicks are a much better team than last year.
If Eric Gordon went off in this one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But this, I think, was the possession that eventually set things into motion. This was on Quentin Grimes, by the way. He loses a rebound to Koji, and the Suns end up scoring on this one. So we're going to pull it up. All right. Anyways, mute this again. You're going to see Keita beats Diop, missed the 3 here. Quentin Grimes comes for the rebound, but Koji comes to strip him. Koji, this play would eventually lead to a Devin Booker pull-up mid-range jumper, and that was essentially the tone setter, as I say again, for how many second chance opportunities the Suns had.
Yeah.
Miss here. Grimes does not control the rebound.
But you gotta, if you want to go back to that,
yeah.
If you're Quentin Grimes, right, and you're coming down with this rebound, like look where he's facing as he gets this. Like you got to know there's a guy right there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's sneaking up on you. You can't sense him. You got to have better court presence there because you have 3 Knicks around you. You like just make sure you don't. I know he's gonna land, but make a quick decision when you come down with this basketball,
or at least try to move the ball out of his direction.
Yeah, you got to be a little better with that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So that was this tone setter. I'm gonna pull up the stats right here. See if I can pull up the numbers. I want to see how many second chance opportunities the Suns had, but we'll pull up the just the general stats. Let's see. Let's go back to yesterday. Okay, so the numbers between 2 teams. The Suns had 18 offensive rebounds. Knicks had 13. The Suns out-rebounded the Knicks by 9. Not acceptable.
No.
Let me see if I can also pull up their second chance points. Let's see. Let's go back to the 26th. Again, comes down 3 points. But let's see. Team stats, summary, game charts. Should be somewhere here. Let's see. No lead tracker. I don't need that. Second chance points. Suns 20, Knicks 16. That says it all. And I also thought that the Knicks were also a little slow in transition yesterday. We're going to watch some of that. So, pulling it up again. Let's pull it from Phoenix. The Knicks did double team Devin Booker from time to time, and I don't think that was a good strategy because if you look at the defensive field goal stats, RJ Barrett was one of the lowest in allowing the defensive field goal percentage yesterday against the Suns. So I wasn't totally sure why the Knicks decided to double team him because it's not like, I mean,
well, the one thing I'll say is he's their best shot maker.
He is.
So I kind of do get it. And in the end, it didn't even matter because he sank the dagger that stabbed in our hearts yesterday. But
Let's go to the first double team. This is when Eric Gordon, I think, starts to go off a little bit.
No.
All right, so
That one,
Booker.
I kind of agree with Almighty. I think that was smart double Booker.
But watch the way how they do it here. Booker has it. They do a little pick and roll, but you see Nurkic is wide open. Mitch doubles Devin Booker along with Quentin Grimes. Pass to the paint. Now it's actually in the corner. Keita baits Diop. And Gordon is wide open for the three. And to me, like, Gordon's a good enough shooter where you don't risk doubling off of him. Not saying like, you have to double him, but have him in single coverage. You got to have like a decent defender because I easily think in that lineup he's the second best scoring option. So obviously Booker, nice pass to the paint. And to me, this is I'm being very critical here. This is a pass that RJ Barrett or Julius Randle, in my opinion, should intercept. Cross-court, as Clyde Frazier loves to say, cross-court passes should not be allowed, and this was one of them. Gordon, open three on the way, got it. Going to watch it one more time. Booker in the pick and roll. I'm surprised he doesn't go to Nurkic, but a good job by Randle. He's going to lean over to the paint. Bates Diop open, kicks to Gordon for a wide open three. Now we're going to watch a little bit more of his rampage on the Knicks. Let's see. Here we go. The start of Eric Gordon's wrath. Barrett. I didn't like Randall's body language either, I'll tell you that. But here we go, 4-0. Booker 1-on-1 versus Barrett. Now Grimes comes to double, but watch where Brunson has to come from. Look where Brunson is on the court. He's on the high post, but he's shading off a little bit of a Koji. But he has to come all the way from there to knock down to try to contest the three. So if you look at the defensive positioning on the court, that was a bad double. Like, I understand where you guys come from. Booker being doubled at times was smart, but looking at the positioning, it wasn't going to work. Because you see Brunson's all the way down here, Randall's on the low post, and Mitchell Robinson's guarding the big man.
Well, they just need to rotate quicker, I think.
Yeah.
Or because you see Brunson's kind of stuck there on that play because he's got Nurkic right in front of him.
I mean, another thing that Nurkic could have done was screen out Brunson, where he absolutely has an open shot. But again, the defensive rotation wasn't good on this one. So let me see. Let me see if I have any other film from this game that I could break down. Bad double team. We already saw that one. Here's one of the plays in transition that kind of pissed me off. So you have Brunson getting a shot blocked here. This was a little bit of a theme in the first half of the Knicks. I don't know how many times I heard Mike Breen say the Knicks look a step slow yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Shot blocked, 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drive. I mean, the Knicks, I think, ended up having more transition points yesterday, but still the effort was unacceptable. Brunson shot blocked. I mean, the defense at the end was terrible. I mean, Randall's not even contesting the shot. Grimes was a little behind too, but not acceptable in transition. Not that a timeout was called after this, but you still don't like to see that. Let's see if we can pull up another transition one. We'll watch another. This was from the first quarter. Here we go. Randall backing down, makes a dumb decision, actually loses the ball and turns it over. But I'll tell you this. I'm going to pull up this right now. Let's see. Can I pull it up? I'm going to pull it up right now. This was the spacing in which Randall had. I'm not excusing him, but this was the spacing Randall had on that possession to enter. That's why he went into double. Give it 1 second. I'm just uploading the picture. This was the spacing. 3 guys in the driving lane. Not ideal. And everybody else was shaded on the other side of the court, which did not help. So I just like the Knicks to have a better concept of the spacing where somebody goes to Randall's side. Because right now there's 4 players on the weak side. Somebody has to get on the strong side and help him out. That's my personal opinion. Again, I'm not excusing the turnover. Randall loses it. Let's watch Gordon in transition 3-on-2 scenario. Gordon to Okogie. Back to Gordon. Gordon inside with the righty lay. Watch that again one more time. Randall loses it. Gordon has it. He'll bring it up. And easy lay. So I like the Knicks better in transition. They're usually they're better in transition as a defense, but yesterday just wasn't one of their good games. See if any more files. Let's see. Phoenix. Okay. Here's 2 plays. I was referencing the get action earlier, but I should say this is one play that they could have used the get action. Brunson with. All right. Here we go. Brunson at the top. Mitchell Robinson. Brunson driving the basket. Limited shot clock. You see it's, I believe it's 1.9 seconds left. Now, a get action that's commonly ran by the Warriors, you see it a lot, is Steph Curry's elusive off the dribble. We obviously know that. We also know he's elusive off ball, in which he can get into his spots really quickly. Jalen Brunson isn't fast, but he's quick enough where he can evade defenders real quick. So we're going to go back to this part of the possession. Let's scroll it back a little bit. So Brunson's driving to the basket. If Brunson turns to Mitch real quick, now the time was limited. I see 3.7 seconds left on the clock. If somehow he can give it to Mitch and Mitch can hand it off to him, because you see Okogie's on the floor at this point. If Mitch can hand it off to Brunson and Brunson turns to the left side and pulls up for a shot, I think he makes it. And it's a more efficient play. So this definitely could have been used here. But we'll go back to it, watch it again. Even here, like if Mitch Robinson screens out Okogie, he does, not so much a little bit. Brunson, maybe they run a set here at the top. Remember, I talked about the 3-man set, the 3-man go set, or I should say the get set with Towns, with Rudy Gobert, and with Mike Conley. Maybe they run a set like that to try to force some sort of mismatch, but the Knicks don't do that. It's iso ball instead. Kicks out to Barrett. Nice dish, but Barrett misses the 3. So again, I emphasize, and I've been emphasizing this for a while, the Knicks need to be more creative offensively. It's none of this ISO stuff, this stupid handoff that goes nowhere where you just pass the ball for the sake of the passing the ball. Doesn't work that way. The Knicks, I stress it again. I apologize for repeating myself. Got to be more creative offensively. But and I brought up another thing, John. How many free throws did we miss yesterday?
9.
9 free throws. And I'll tell you this much. The Knicks could have an absolutely better record despite their shooting woes from the perimeter if they made their damn free throws. They missed 9 yesterday. The deficit was 3. But let's look at the Knicks in free throw percentage. They let's see the rank. Guess where they rank in free throw percentage, John? Among the league.
3rd worst.
What if I told you they were 2nd worst?
I thought I read they were 3rd worst, but maybe I was wrong. That's
29th, 72.6% from the free throw line.
That's horrible.
Their free throw attempts, they get there a lot. They're 11th in free throw attempts. They rank 11th, 23.8 free throw attempts per game. But yet they only make 17.3% 17.3 free throws per game. But one more thing I want to break down before we close out our next segment is the final play with the shot. I know we all don't want to watch it. It's heartbreaking, but we're going to watch this breakdown real quick. Let's see. Here we go. Again, I got the tab muted. It's all well. So final possession for the Knicks, it is quickly Barrett, Hart, Randall, and Robinson. For the Suns, it is Gordon, Booker, Nurkic, Watanabe, and I would say there was I think it was Jordan Goodwin, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, let's watch the possession, and then I'll break it down. Knocks down the 3. We'll pull it up. Now I'll do the breakdown. Quickly comes for a double. Booker smartly passed it off to Jordan Goodwin. Now, easily, Goodwin could have passed it off to Yuta Watanabe for an open corner 3, but he did see that Mitch was reading the pass, or the attempted pass, or not even that. Handoff. Barrett goes under the handoff screen, in which now Booker is forced onto a double team. Barrett has to chase. Randall has to chase. When Booker pulls up, it's look at Randall. I'm not faulting, I'm not picking him out for a lineup. but there is not a contestation there. He has the space to contest, but neither or puts up a hand when Booker starts to pull up. Watch that one more time. As you see Booker, the ball is, let's pull back one more time. Ball's right here. Both players' hands are down. It's an incredible shot. I'm going to give Devin Booker that, but Randall has to contest and actually anticipate when he's going to shoot it. Watch it one more time. Booker, it's a good win. Barrett goes under the handoff screen. And there you have made 3 to end the game. John, any final thoughts before we call our Knicks game tomorrow regarding the Knicks?
Let's get a friggin' win.
Mitch is out there for rebounding purposes. That's all.
Where'd my pen go?
Defense into offense. You're talking about the transition play has to be better. This team is not that good, to be honest. They're good. They could absolutely, like the margin of error with the wins I talked about. They've had some close losses if they made their damn free throws. And John, we're going to set the over-under tomorrow at 7, correct?
We'll go at 8 tomorrow.
Okay, John is going to take it up a notch. Everybody make your damn free throws. No, I know. Well, he was out there for rebounding purposes. Just in case, Booker misses the final shot, Mitch can grab it, and the Knicks can call the timeout, and then they can formulate a final play. What's up to Miz?
By the way, the Bears won, which means 2 things. It's a good thing in both ways. A, if they win more games like this, we'll have the lower pick. But also, them beating the Vikings makes us 2 games out of a wild card spot.
Interesting.
So you see where I'm going with this.
But I like to also add, Almighty, on the floor. I mean, yes, they did have Barrett. They had Quickly. But at that point, it's not like the Knicks didn't have a timeout, Almighty, where they just grab the rebound. They have to hurry up the floor. They had a timeout. They had a timeout at that point where they could say, you needed your defensive guys out there first. That's why you had Barrett. That's why you had Quickly and Hart and Robinson. Robinson was there for the rebound. I get the 3-point shooters argument, but at that time, you needed defense. You got the defense. Obviously, they didn't contest as well as we thought. But at the end of the day, Robinson was out there for rebounding, to grab the rebound. You don't need that rebound being grabbed by Nurkic to put it up and hit the buzzer. But at the end of the day, it did not come down to that. The Knicks should have not been in that position. They trailed on early on. They started to come back in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, they were up and down and all that. I'm saying when Booker made that. After he called the timeout, my apologies, don't mind me. Let me look at that final play for you. I didn't mean to misinterpret what you were saying. But they had Brunson, they had Barrett. Let's see. All right, let's pull up that last play. I apologize, Almighty, for misunderstanding you. Suns, Knicks, here we go. And Brunson missed that by a lick, that final shot. So the lineup was, before we end this, it was Brunson, Barrett, Quickly, Randall, Robinson. Would you have switched out for anybody else? I'm just asking as a curious question. Brunson was hot at that point. Quickly was so-so. Barrett was so-so. Would you throw in DiVincenzo? Because maybe that's the move, where you could get him off the screen real quick. Perhaps you could have. But again, I'm not going to really second guess that. Shouldn't have came down to that point. But I get you were saying, Almighty. My apologies.
So, Mrs. also says that next week we can move up to 4. The Bears are also on a bye, but we have to root for the Commanders to win against the Dolphins. Shane definitely calms the fan base. Very competent guy, has a plan. And this is also the first Bears win against a divisional opponent under Matt Eberflus. And the first win in franchise history without a field goal. Without a touchdown. So that's where that comes from. But Luca, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Been calling the Knicks game tomorrow. Excited with Sir Angry John above me. But I'm excited to come back. I'm excited to come back and call the Knicks game. Maybe Tibbs kept in Mitch so he can set the screen, get a wide open three, or either Brunson or IQ. I think Robinson was near the basket at that point, if I'm not mistaken, during the play. But to be honest, Almighty, Tibbs does not draw up very good plays coming out of when you need a winning possession. So, but yeah, John, final thoughts.
Well, ladies and gents, what have we learned today? I actually do got the final records for the picks. 110.69 Alex, 111.69 Alex, 105.75 me, 110.70 Luca. So Alex leads Luca by a game, and then I'm trailing by a couple games. But guys, we are all 30 games above 500 at least. So I'm pretty sure that that is good for us. And yeah, saw that. Didn't even score a touchdown. They won. I just updated the stats now. But also, I found this funny on MLB Network. I'll leave this little anecdote off before I pass it to Alex. They were pulling up mock trades, and they put up a funny Mets one. They suggested they trade away Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil to the Blue Jays for Vlad Guerrero and Fat Boy Manoah.
I saw that.
Can you believe some people, man? It's just the nonsense I deal with as a Mets fan. But again, we'll get the next game tomorrow. We got Thursday Night Football, and we got a whole lot of other content coming your way. So, guys, stay tuned for everything, and pass it along to this man right here.
They didn't move up to 4 yet. They have to. Well, we got to wait a week to see where they go. I don't think they'll even move up to 4 if Washington wins. Let's just say that they do, right? I think the Bears would be at 4 and the Giants would be at 5, and a multitude of other things need to happen. So I would say 5 and then maybe like 6. 5 and 6 is like where they'll be at after next week. Mark Cuban is leaving Shark Tank after season 16. Interesting. It's mainly his show. But let's see. Mets with Austin Powers, Fat Bastard, and
Blackaby Marley and Austin Powers.
Blackaby, what? Because he's referring to the trade.
Yeah.
The mock trade. But we appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. These guys will be calling the next game tomorrow. And more content coming out through the way.
7:30, by the way, start
7:30. So we'll keep you guys updated as far as other content goes. Appreciate you guys, and have a good rest of your night.